Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OWN Masters Valencia. I am your host, Panicast, joined by the amazing Duncan Brawl Stars. How are you doing today on this fine Wednesday morning, Duncan?
I'm doing quite well, Panda. I'm very excited to get into day 6 of our league play. We've only got 2 more days of league play, so we are coming to a close very quickly here, but we've got a bunch of games coming up. The stakes are higher than ever before. We've got a bunch of teams that can kind of solidify their chance at making into the top 4 for the playoffs. We've got some teams that if they lose, they're going to solidify themselves being out of the bracket, so stakes are getting higher. Everything's getting more exciting as we get closer to the end. I'm super excited for it, Panda.
Yeah, I mean, we have two teams which are firmly at the top of the leaderboards. I believe that they are Humble and SK Gaming. Humble haven't lost a single game. SK Gaming have lost one to Humble. And then there's a then we have Reply Totem at 3-2. Then we have a 4-way tie of 2-3 with 4 of the teams here in this tournament. And rounding out the last place is Reverso Gaming, which has failed to get a single win in this playoff stage for this tournament. So a lot of different storylines to be talked about, but I feel like already we know a few teams that I guess we know their future, right? We know Reverso's out, we know SK and Humble are in. Reply Totem's almost on the cusp of getting there, but today is a very make or break day for them, and Just because of that, we have it as our first game. It's going to be Reply Totem versus Eclipse, our esport.
Yep, I think that the story of today is going to be which of these two or three teams are going to be able to get wins. None of them are playing each other today, so they've got a bunch of competition. A lot of them are playing the upper echelon of EMEA teams right here, but definitely starting off with Reply Totem and Eclipsar. This is definitely a must-win game for Eclipsar Esport if they want to be able to make this top four. Totem, on the other hand, can kind of solidify their spot in the playoff bracket with a win over Eclipsar. So both of these teams have a lot to play for. The most evenly ranked matchup as far as all the matchups that we have on the board today. So both teams are going to have to bring their A game. It's definitely going to be kind of a winner-take-all situation here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Totem need this win here. It'll cement their position at the top of the leaderboard. But if they don't, it's not going to be that great for them. They've been struggling a lot this year, but we're seeing signs of life, and we're seeing them in better form as the months go by. So I think that right now we're seeing a Totem which is getting into a better shape. But then on the other hand, we have an Eclipse, our esports side, which started off quite phenomenally in the year and then have slowly started decaying over time. So it's not that good for them as they are losing momentum. They're tied at fourth place with a four-way tie with three other teams. So a loss here might spell imminent doom for them, but there is still one more match day for them tomorrow if they don't happen to win today. But obviously all of the cards are here for them today, because they don't win today, it might be a terrible situation for them here, Duncan.
Yep, I think that you laid it out pretty well. We've got two teams kind of on an opposite trajectory so far. Totem started out a lot slower and has kind of been picking up steam as we've progressed further into this esports season, whereas Eclipsar started off really hot. They were looking like the new team to watch, and then have since kind of fallen off a little bit. So we've got Totem on the come up, Eclipsar on the fall off, but they got an even slate today. So I mean, we're gonna have to see who comes prepared for this matchup, but obviously a very huge matchup. As we're looking at the leaderboard here, we see Humble and SK sitting pretty comfortably atop the competition. Totem obviously has their chance to kind of solidify themselves as that de facto 3 seed here today. So I'm definitely looking to see if Totem's going to kind of step up to the plate, solidify their spot in the playoffs right here. Eclipsar's got a lot to prove as well, though. Obviously, that four-way tie could go to any of those four teams. None of them have the easiest of matchups today, but hoping that we'll be able to see who kind of comes out on top. But it looks like we're getting into our first draft of the day between Reply Totem and Eclipsar. It's going to be on Gold Arm Gulch. Our bans are Lumi, Jean, Jay Young, Kit, Lumi, and Hank.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Jay Young finally competitive, but he is going to be banned outright from the get-go. We have had some balance changes in the recent past. I mean, what, a few days ago? And also we got hypercharges as well, which have come out. So that might play a little bit into what we're seeing here. But the first pick going to be Angelo from Eclipse, our esport. I've been playing a lot of Wasabi, so my sense of what is acceptable has completely gone out the window here.
Well, I can tell you as somebody who refuses to play the Wasabi modifier that Angelo is still good in normal ranked as well. Definitely a pretty solid first option. Obviously, he's got some of the best range in the game, but what people really take Angelo for here is that piercing gadget. It's going to be so menacing on a map like Gold Arm Gulch, where there's so many walls that people are going to be hiding behind. You can just hit a normal shot and then dial up a pierce shot to try to secure that kill. So I do really like the Angelo pick here. Wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of Mandy action to kind of go with that range, but it looks like Totem is going to be going for a very certified combination. The Gray as well as the Buster, probably the best knockout tank in the game for the likes of Buster right here. Obviously that shield as well as that hypercharged shield are going to be so important when it gets into the end game. You can kind of block off your entire team from any fire as the clouds start going in. Gray, on the other hand, similar to Angelo, he does have that pure shot that can be really impactful in bounty and knockout modes like that. And he's got the teleport on top of that to be able to kind of secure any kill on anybody who's sitting at one shot. So I really like this combination from Reply Totem. Eclipsar is going to have to kind of find an answer for the aggression that the Gray and Buster have.
Indeed, and I feel like usually classically what we used to see in the previous month was a lot of Chester coming in for something like this, and now we don't see Chester at all. And in fact, we see RT and a Kenji. Kenji with a hypercharge is notorious for being kind of dominating and centralizing in the meta, especially with the pull when you are able to put people together like Terra's gravity. So it is something that you have to be worried about. But Reply don't have a pretty decent comp here. They do have this last pick to basically blitz Eclipsar, and they go for the Gus here.
Yeah, don't dislike the Gus pick a lot. I think that They maybe could have gone for a little bit of a harder Kenji counter. I am a little surprised to see Kenji make it down this far in the draft. In my opinion, he is maybe not the best brawler in the game, but definitely the most broken brawler in the game with that hypercharge. In a game mode like Knockout, though, it is probably the most difficult to get that hypercharge in. Obviously, you can't just cycle out deaths and just keep on getting those hits, but Kenji has a decent matchup on the Buster, got a decent matchup into Gray and into Gus, so I think that he should be able to maybe hypothetically get one singular hypercharge in this game. But if he gets it, it's going to be more or less over. But here we go, guys. Getting straight into game number 1. We have Totem in blue versus Eclipsar in red. It looks like Totem's going to be moving up the left lane. Eclipsar moving up the right lane as they're just trying to feel things out for now.
Indeed, and it's the first one here, so let's see how this one does play out. It's a little bit of slow burn at the start, and obviously every knockout game, you just want to get your utilities up, your gadgets ready, and obviously your supers and hypercharges. But looking on the left-hand side, they're just perfectly content allowing Mario to get his super and play around that Buster here. Obviously, they're looking for either Sabine or maybe the RT to overextend and pull them with that Gray as a possible play situation.
Definitely. It looks like Totem is quite content chilling to the highest degree over here in that left bush right here, just trying to get Maru his hypercharge for the end game. And he gets that very, very quickly. Honestly, kind of broken how quickly he can passively charge that hyper. It's one of the things that makes him such a great brawler and knockout. But either way, the smoke is starting to close in now. Sabim's still looking for an angle, but Maru is going to pop hyper. He's going to go block off this entire lane. The Gray Hook hits, and that's going to be an easy kill onto the RT. But we still have Marco surviving right there. Maru's going to clean that up quite easily, though. And Angel Boy is going to get the finishing kill right there. In my opinion, Eclipsar is going to have to make their move a little bit earlier. They cannot just let Maru sit there and charge up that full hypercharge for free. It's going to make the end game so much more difficult, as we just saw there, Panda.
Yeah, they have to be aggro, and they need to go in to actually break this sort of detente that they have, because the amount of potential that Reply Totem have, especially once Gus gets the field, is going to be huge. Angel Boy now, though, with his teleport, could make it easier for Mario to get in and out, but to actually place that in a opportune position might be a little bit hard.
Yep, and it looks like they are just going to be kind of still playing their range right here. I was expecting a little bit more aggro, but nothing as of yet. Marco is kind of moving up the right side, but not going to be a whole lot. We see a teleport go in. Maru is going to pop the hyper as well, but Angel Boy finishes off that kill. And now we have Totem in a 3v2. Marco's definitely going to have to go make a play if they want to win this, but they've got the portals up. They're kind of teleporting around. It's going to be difficult for the Kenji to get too much value as of right now. And it looks like he's going to have to go in from the bottom right here. Maru's teleporting over. We got the hyper teleporter as well. And that's going to be a very, very clean game from Totem. Once again, I feel like their passive strategy is paying off so well. They just wait for that Buster hypercharge. And then if the Gray hits a hook, it's more or less game over from that point. So definitely expecting a little bit of a mix up as far as strategy goes for Eclipsar here.
Yeah, they need to do something different, because the Reply Totem were looking quite in control. It just seemed like everything was going according to their game plan. And Eclipsar Esports need to break that sort of confidence, because this is certainly going to inspire some confidence with the way they were able to dominate them in that first game. We go into the second game of this first set between Reply Totem with the ECP, and Totem did take the first one.
Yep, and it looks like Totem is going to be trying to do their exact same strategy again, just straight up chilling in that left-hand bush there. Sabim and Biso trying to land a couple more shots. It looks like they are getting slightly more aggressive right here. We see Angel Boy gets marked up, but overall just seeing more of the same. Once again, not expecting to see any Kenji hypercharges after how passive the last round was, but even if he does get a super, it still could be quite useful. Didn't even see a Kenji super to speak of in game number 1, though, so I'm not really liking what I'm seeing from Eclipsar here. It does look like more of the same. Maru's got his hypercharge for free like he did in both games in game number 1, so as we see the smoke start coming in, expecting Maru to pop that hypercharge, and that's probably going to be when the push begins.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they're trying to do here. Amaru does have a hypercharge here. He should be able to use it. He's going to go in, uses it as well. Kenji's going to be waiting for that hypercharge to go down, but he does whack himself in the wall. Biso finds one kill. He might be able to find the other. No, he gets taken out. Angel Boy on top against Sabim, and Totem taking the first round once again.
That definitely looked the most promising out of all the rounds that we've seen for Eclipsar, but either way, the trades just didn't end up going in their direction. I think that Maru getting the kill on the Kenji first was quite impactful. If the Kenji's able to get that super, he's going to be immune. He's going to be able to get so much damage, but didn't happen. So now we're going to see a little bit more aggressive play from Angel Boy using the TP and the hook. Not going to result in any kills, though, and Maru is going to be quite weak. He does go down to the RT gadget, So for the first time, we see Eclipsar on the upper hand of this matchup right here. We've got the two snipers on Totem going up against the entire comp of Eclipsar. Maury's trying to do what he can here, but overall, it's going to be hard to win this 3v2 without the Buster.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a good play from Eclipsar, and now they have a way forward to get this dub here, as long as they don't make any sort of misplays. Because in terms of the damage output that Totem have, I don't really, it doesn't inspire confidence in me. They have to pick off people from Eclipsar one by one. So as a result, they're going to go into the storm. They don't want to be feeding here, and that's exactly what they ensure that they do. Don't want to give that Kenji that hypercharge, as we haven't seen Kenji even use the hypercharge or get a hypercharge in this matchup so far.
We haven't even seen Kenji get a super, if I'm not mistaken, Panda. It's definitely been few hits and far between for the Kenji right there. I definitely think it was the
Mhm.
right play by Totem to get into the smoke right there without the Buster alive. But we see a hypercharge online for Maru. We see a hypercharge online from Angel Boy. Biso is getting pretty tappy right here, but it's not
Ooh!
going to be enough to stop the double pull combination that the Gray and the Buster have to offer. Textbook takedown from Reply Totem. We see Eclipsar trying to keep up the aggression here, kind of trying to go all in at this moment in time. And Marco's going to be able to get a little bit of damage, not going to be enough to really do a whole lot. As Totem is kind of regrouping over here, Maru's going to be using that teleport, trying to get some damage over here, but not really a whole lot of success to speak of on the part of Eclipsar. Marco does have his Kenji super online for the first time, and he
Oh!
doesn't even get to use it. That's probably going to be our game right here. Easy sweep for Totem.
Yeah, very well played. They were in control the entire time. I felt like it was just Totem's playbook, and Eclipsar were just showing up. They were just passengers in this game, and I think that Totem are going to be happy with how that one turned out. I think that was a really good set for them, and hopefully for them it continues. But honestly, Eclipsar still have their work cut out for them. There is a way forward, but it's going to be hard for them to do so because of just how demonstrably dominant Totem were in this first set.
Very dominant set right there. I feel like Angel Boy and Maru played so well with each other. They would hit the gray hook first and then use the Buster pull to kind of finish off that kill. That worked like 2 or 3 times for them, the same strategy each time. But if you're going to get pulled once and then pulled again, it's going to be pretty difficult to survive. Eclipsar kind of found that out the hard way, but I'm expecting a little bit more. I think that it was a little bit of an outdraft. So hopefully going into set 2, they'll be able to kind of draft a little bit better, make it a little bit more of a competitive set. But we are going to be going into Ring of Fire. That's going to be a hot zone map for you guys. So we might even be able to see a little bit more aggressive comps come out here. Maybe we'll get to see the Griff Hypercharge or the Amber Hypercharge. Definitely looking forward to see how those two brawlers with their new hypers kind of make their way into the meta right here. So I feel like Ring of Fire is a map where both of these could be pretty viable options. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing one of them at least.
Yeah, I mean, we've just had the recent hypercharges. I would think that they're going to be used a lot. We saw how much these brawlers are so centralizing in like the ranked meta, and even at higher level ladder, you can't go a game without seeing some of the shenanigans that are brought out by these hypercharges in the recent past. So I'm gonna be keeping my eye out for some of these new brawler picks. So let's see how this one does turn out, Duncan. But I think that Eclipsar Esport need to be a bit more aggressive. They do have an aggressive composition, but they didn't play that aggro at all as they probably should have played in the previous set. So hopefully they're able to address some of the issues going into the set number 2.
Yeah, I think that Totem played it well because obviously with a Kenji on the other team, you really don't want to be feeding him supers. You don't want to be feeding him hypercharges. But when you have all three of your players grouped up into one, it's going to be tough for Kenji to really get a whole lot of action done there without trading out his own life. That's kind of what we saw Totem kind of take advantage of. They grouped up as a team. They never really were able to get picked off one by one because of that. And then getting that Buster hypercharge for the end game was just so free for them. So maybe we'll see a little bit more aggression from the side of Eclipsar this time. I'm kind of hoping so. But outside of the new hypercharges, there's also still a lot of older brawlers that we can really see thrive on Ring of Fire. Obviously, the Gray teleport strategy is definitely still in play. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gray make another appearance. B is another brawler that kind of shuts down a lot of these more aggro options. So still has a pretty broken hypercharge, still has a pretty broken damage output in general. So wouldn't be shocked to see another B here. But either way, looking forward to getting into this draft. Hopefully Eclipsar is going to be a little bit more on the offensive here. I'm definitely looking forward to a more competitive match in set 2.
Yeah, exactly. And just looking at some of the brawlers that people tend to use here, right? I feel like Finks is something that you tend to see. Oh, we're gonna have our draft screen coming up, and we do have our draft on Ring of Fire. The bans are gonna be Pam, Lily, Poco, Lumi, Genji and the Lu. With the first pick from Reply Totem, they're opting for the Amber here, and the Amber does remove a lot of the grass cover. There's a lot of area denial, especially with those oil slicks on the field. So I think this is a really good start, especially considering the hypercharges as well.
Yep, I'm super excited that we're going to finally get to see the Amber Hypercharge in some competitive play right here. I think it is a very, very broken Hypercharge. It covers pretty much the entire map. It's a little bit ridiculous how much oil she's able to use with that Hypercharge. But looking at our bans here, I'm not surprised to see Lumi still get banned. She did get a nerf, but I don't really think it was a nerf to some of the areas that really needed a nerf, such as her star power that slows upon return and her really broken gadget that's essentially two Lu supers. So I would definitely expect to continue to see Lumi banned out through our competition today. But going into the Amber, it's going to be pretty tough, especially with the Poco ban. Poco is one of the better counters to Amber with his gadget that kind of counters out any ill effects that your team might have incurred, including any of the burn damage from Amber's super. So taking the Poco out of the picture and then drafting Amber first does seem to be a very cohesive strategy from the side of Reply Totem. Eclipsar is going to have to think outside of the box for how to counter this.
Yeah, I think that they're gonna probably go for, yeah, exactly. They needed a little bit of HP, a little bit of some versatility, and I feel like Jae Young does espouse those ideas properly, which is why it's coming out along with the B. So B, I don't think you can go wrong with B as a mid brawler on a map like this. Obviously, you have to be a little careful if you're playing B, and you don't want your teammates allow people to go into your own grass, which makes it much harder to operate as a B. And Reply Totem going for the Draco along with the Byron. I think this is a great composition from Reply Totem. They have out and out aggression from the Amber, the heals from the Byron, for the Draco, who's going to be going aggressively and really forcing B back. I feel like Eclipsar Esports had their work cut out for them with this last pick here.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that the B should have a decent amount of success, at least into Amber and Draco, but if Draco is able to get pretty wiggly and slime up the map, he could definitely pose a very big threat, especially with Byron heals on his side. We see Eclipsar finishing up the draft with another tank counter, the Finks. I think that's a pretty solid option into Draco. Should be able to do a lot of work onto that. Not sure how Finks is going to fare into the Byron and into the Amber, but with the Jae Young assistance with those speed and those heals, I'm definitely excited to see how this comp from Eclipsar pays out. We saw them being a little bit too passive last game, and Jae Young is going to be the opposite of a passive brawler. He's going to be constantly giving his team that speed, as we see right here. And then we're getting into the game. The B gadget's going to be coming out. Maru's trying to charge his super up, but that's going to be a fantastic first takedown from Biso. And we see Eclipsar with his Jae Young speed just kind of dominating the zone control right now.
Yeah, great start coming in from Eclipsar here, especially once you get that super up for Finks. It just makes it so hard to really contend in the mid, and that's exactly what's happening here. Maru has been forced back here. He's going to have his oil slick. He's going to be putting it down as well. That's going to be a lot of fire damage if they do happen to walk over it. Not going to be able to do just that. Jaeyoung keeping his teammates relatively healthy here, but Angel Boy trying to compete on this right-hand side, along with another super being placed down by Finks. Eclipsar going from strength to strength here.
I'm really coming around to this Eclipsar comp right here. The Jae Young I haven't seen a whole lot of in competitive, but he is absolutely cooking so far. They're going to have to devote a couple of resources to take out Angel Boy in their spawn right here. But overall, we see Totem kind of making a stand back on the zone right here. Biso's Hypercharge is going to do so much work right there. They get one kill. Maru's going to be quite weak as well, but Angel Boy is doing all he can to kind of hold them off the zone for the time being. But we just see Marco has just had permanent Fink supers this entirety of this game. Fantastic kill and teleport out right there. Angel Boy's doing what he can just to stall. But overall, it seems like Eclipsar is at least winning the KD battle right here, even if they're only up by 30% on the zone.
I know how good Finks can be in a map like this, but it's kind of crazy how dominant he's been. I feel like the composition from Totem looked like a winning one, but here we have a hypercharge from Marco. Can he get the kills that he's looking for? No, he gets taken out. Oh, he finds the fire damage as well. That might be 3 kills coming in for the side of Reply Totem, and that is exactly what happens. But right now the question is, can Totem hold on for the next 30, 40 seconds here?
What a busted hypercharge, man. Literally just walked in their face, died, and got a triple kill. But hey, that's what a new hypercharge tends to be. We see Angel Boy applying a ton of pressure right here. He's going to get traded out. But Totem is not out of this yet. They only need 25 more percent to be able to come back in this game. Maru hits a fantastic fire onto Biso as well. That should be him going down. And if they are able to kill Marco here, which they are only going to have a couple more seconds to stay on the zone. 99% for the side of Eclipsar. They're popping everything they can with the Jae Young speed, and it's going to be enough to be able to secure that game. Without the Jae Young speed right there, man, I think that Totem would have been able to pull out the comeback of the century in that game.
Dude, I have to say, I didn't think Finks was going to be as broken as he was in that match. I am interested to see how Reply to him try to take one back. They did have moments of brilliance. Obviously, the hypercharged Amber was one which can't be understated, but it was really, really close there. I'm really interested to see how this one plays out here, Duncan.
Yeah, I feel like the Finks supers, they were just kind of always online for the side of Eclipsar. Angel Boy might be trying to move a little bit more tactfully here, feed a little bit less super, but he's going to be moving up onto the right side as we get into game number 2. Totem has early control over the zone, but Angel Boy's going to take his first death, going to kind of make it a little bit harder for them. We see Eclipsar is going to be using that Jaeyoung speed, just kind of dancing around on the zone right now, tanking that Amber Fire to the face. Angel Boy's moving up through the middle now, but I feel like this entire game we've just been seeing Angel Boy kind of run up dying and feeding Think Supers, and it hasn't been working out the greatest for Totem.
Yeah, but right now they're in a pretty good spot here. Marco is also going to be taken out by Angel Boy. That's going to be huge. He places a super. That's going to be a waste of a super here. Angel Boy is surely going to be going down because of the B here, but manages to stay alive for so long, much more than they expected. The oil slick on the right finds absolutely nobody. Subim on the right-hand side. A big super coming in from B, so he's able to find a kill. He gets taken out. Marco goes down as well, and so does Subim to Maru's fire damage, and it's Reply to him just running away with this one.
Maru's hypercharges have really just been carrying Totem in this game. Angel Boy still being alive on the left is massive there too. Thought the B would be able to take him down, but he's back into his dragon, causing a ton of pressure up here, pushing them into Maru's fire on the right side of the map. It's going to be another kill right there, and we see a pretty insurmountable lead on the side of Reply Totem. They're going to be regrouping right here as Eclipsar gets a little bit more zone time. I mean, they have their Fink super. It's definitely not completely over yet. But with Angel Boy back in his dragon, with Mori and Maru both having supers online, they're probably looking to make one last push to be able to hop into the zone here. Angel Boy is going to be ticking up that zone right there. And even with Maru dying, it seems like they might be able to top off the zone here with the help of the Byron heals and the Draco gadget. That's going to secure game number 2 for Totem. We're tied up at 1-1 in Hot Zone, Panda.
Yeah, I think it was still probably a better draft coming in from Totem, but I just feel like Eclipsar played that to perfection in the first game, which is not what happened in the second game. In the second game, we just saw Angel Boy completely ensuring that he locked down against that Finks and didn't give him even an inch, so Eclipsar couldn't take that mile that they were expecting.
Yep, getting into game number 3, I think our player to watch here is going to be Angel Boy in his lane versus, who is that again? Marco on the Finks right there. I feel like if they get the Draco in early positioning, it's going to be hard to get him out, but he's going to go down first. That's going to be first blood drawn by the side of Eclipsar right here. They got the Jaeyoung speed with the B 5k shots. Going to be doing a lot of work right here. We see the Finks super go down as well. Maru's doing what he can to save Maru, but it's not going to be enough. Angel Boy's moving up with his dragon right now, but they're going to be kind of focusing fire heavily over onto him. And it seems like we are going to see Eclipsar playing a little bit better in game number 3. They bait out the Amber Fire, but Totem is kind of chilling onto the zone right now in the 2v3.
A big super coming in from Marco on the mid here. It's going to ensure that Totem can't really move up on the mid. And Angel Boy trying to move up right there is going to be in an awkward position, but has ensured that he's got a little bit of control. But with Mar going down, it's not the best spot for him. He pops his gadget, gets taken out himself. There is some poison damage onto Marco, but the heals from Jaeyoung it ensures that Subim is able to heal up Marco and keep him alive.
Yeah, Jaeyoung seems to be the ultimate support brawler in this meta, and just look at him continually healing up his team, just allowing Biso and Marco to get so much damage to just keep shooting the entire time, not having to worry about heals. And obviously that speed is going to be quite impactful as well. Biso's hypercharge comes down though, landing some significant damage. Going to have to use the Byron super to keep his teammate alive, but Angel Boy is on a tear right now on the right side of the map. He is going to go down after popping the gadget, but we're going to see the zone tick up to 50% for the side of Totem, definitely narrowing out this lead for Eclipsar. But we see Marco popping the super back down. Sabim is using his speed, and that is going to be a fantastic kill from Marco. And it looks like we're going to see Eclipsar kind of tick the zone up to 75%. Totem's got to make a move right now, and Angel Boy's going to try and make it happen.
Indeed, Marco being pressured in an awkward position, but gets a kill onto Mario. That's going to be huge. Angel Boy very low. Gets taken out by Marco once more. Marco has been a crazy man here. Does get taken out at the end, but has provided so much of value for his team in this entirety of the set, which has allowed Eclipsar to equalize it at 1 apiece in terms of the set score, Duncan.
Fantastic work from Eclipsar. They played that so incredibly well. I really do like the comp. Not a comp that I've really experienced a whole lot of with the Jaehyung Finks synergy, but I was really rocking with it. I feel like it worked out so well. Finks was able to get so many supers. As long as there's a tank on the opposing team, Finks is pretty much going to have infinite supers. He's able to get so much damage. B was able to get so much damage. And the fact that they got the heals from the Jaehyung and they didn't really have to stop shooting the entire game was so impactful. Definitely a very, very good set right there, though. Could have went to Totem if they played a little bit better, but I definitely am not the biggest fan of the Ring of Fire Draco, maybe just because it is a little bit of a feeding frenzy. Overall, though, definitely a solid set. Way to answer back from Eclipsar Esports.
That was crazy. I had a feeling, I had an inkling that Eclipsar Esports were doing really great with that Finks. I felt like Reply Totem had an answer to that in the second game, but in the third game, it was just Marco playing out of his mind phenomenally, just putting down those supers, ensuring that the uptime was kind of really high. We had Jaehyung healing up the entire team, and the B making those shots. So despite all the healings that Byron was trying to put down on Amber, it was getting buffeted by those attacks and projectiles, which were sped up by those fake supers. So it was mostly like a big hazard in the mid for Reply Totem. Every time they try to get back in engagement, you saw them getting completely destroyed by this Eclipsar Esports side. We're gonna go into last stop, but it's certainly not going to be the last one here. What are your thoughts on what we've seen so far here, Duncan?
I think that what we've seen so far is that Eclipsar has a couple tricks up their sleeve with some of these comps. I haven't really seen a whole lot of Jaehyung in esports yet, but he definitely proved to be a valuable commodity for the side of Eclipsar. So Jaehyung is a brawler that I don't think we've seen the last of today. But as far as that goes, I also was impressed by the Amber hypercharge from the side of Totem. I know it wasn't enough to get the job done, but every time they had a really big play, it was because that Amber hypercharge was able to get 2 or 3 kills for absolutely free. So I definitely think that that's a good sign for Amber lovers in the future meta. Definitely could see a little bit of Griff hypercharge coming into play here too, but Last Stop does tend to be a little bit more of a ranged map, so expecting those brawlers like Gus, like Angelo, like Gray to kind of make their appearance known again here. I don't know though, we're gonna have to see how these comps go. I feel like both times the team with the more aggressive comp has won in these first 2 games, so looking forward to see which team kind of brings the aggro comp, which team seems to be reacting. I feel like that might be our answer for who wins set 3.
Yeah, it's a very important set because right now we are at parity, right? Both the teams have won one, so it's almost back to square one. So it's a very, very pivotal set for both these teams because it's gonna show the new momentum going forward. But I think that Eclipsar should be quite confident with how they played that set. I don't think that was a bad set by any means. So maybe Last Stop might be a little bit more electrifying here as we go into it. But I do have to mention that I just love the way Reply Totem have been playing this, and maybe they might just be able to give us something special in draft once more. They go for it, Lily as the first pick on Last Stop, and the bans are going to be Max, Buster, Tara, Kenji, Lumi, and Janet.
That's a crazy first pick. I'm not gonna lie. Lily is kind of one of those brawlers that can be a little bit difficult to counter because if you do have a good matchup into her, she can kind of just dip out into that shadow realm and kind of walk away for free. But if you're able to play a good Lily, she can be so menacing right there. She can get so many kills for free. It's definitely going to be a very, very aggressive pick from the side of Totem. So definitely what I was looking for right there. I am a little bit surprised to see it come out with the first pick, though. I feel like there are answers that Eclipsar could be able to pull out here to kind of deal with the Lily nice and easily. But overall, I like the vibe from Reply Totem. They're definitely looking to play on the offensive end. Eclipsar is going to be countering that with a Jaehyung and an Amber. So we see the new brawler into the game. We see the new hypercharge into the game. They're going everything new on the side of Eclipsar. And although neither of them are really able to do much into the Lily at close range, I do still feel like these are 2 pretty good control-based brawlers. So playing a little bit more passively, but if they're able to get that Amber hypercharge that we saw Totem get, then that definitely could be very, very valuable.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how impactful Amber's hypercharge can be on a map, which is so wide. I mean, you'd have the entire mid being completely spilt with oil once that Amber gets the hypercharge going. And Jaehyung is so adaptable. I just love how you have agency to change how you play the brawler, right? You can either go very aggro or you can go support and heal up your teammates. I just love the fact that you have the agency to choose how you opt to play that brawler, and it changes the way the entire team actually plays when the modes are switched. And Reply Totem decide to respond with the Crow and the Gene. I'm a little confused. I know that like both these brawlers haven't had too many changes recently, so I'm a little confused about this one here, Duncan.
Pro actually did get a buff to his healing reduction. I think it went from
Mm.
40% to 60%. So Totem is bringing out that Crow to try to counteract the Jae Young healing aspect. I think that's kind of what they're going
Ah.
for with that. He's definitely a brawler that has fallen off very, very hard in the past couple of months, but this is my first time seeing him since he's got a buff in competitive play. So I think that he could be a little bit more valuable of a pick than he has been in the past. Gene, on the other hand, just a pretty sturdy mid. Obviously, you're going to be able to hit those poles at some point. Could make it a lot harder considering they do have an 8-bit with the last pick who is able to teleport. They have Jae
Oh.
Young who's able to speed himself and his teammates, so might be pretty difficult to hit a Gene pull, but if he is able to hit one of those, it could definitely be the game changer right there.
Yeah, I like this 8-bit pick because if you're looking at mids, most of them are quite squishy, right? So you're going to be very
Mhm.
susceptible to Lily and obviously her hypercharge. So you have to be careful about how you play this one. So I like this 8-bit. It has a lot of tankiness. It has that beefiness, which is going to allow you to basically compete in the mid and possibly survive a few Lily supers as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one does turn out. I do have to be worried if you're 8-bit in case the Lily just does dump on your face and you might not get into a good spot as we go into game number 1 here of this third set.
Yep, we see Totem with an early gem lead right here, but the Lily hyper or the Lily super is going to be missed right there by Angel Boy. Definitely not what they were looking for to start out here, but control does seem to be on the side of Totem. But Marco's already got his turret set up. It is going to be the extra damage turret as well, so should be able to get a lot of value from that. Angel Boy's going in with his gadget. Not going to be able to get any kills right there. The damage gadget from Sabine is going to be able to finish him off. We see the pull coming through. He's going to pull the turret. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or accident, but either way, it is going to kind of clear out the environment so that a future 8-bit turret can't be popped up there. We see Crow jumping in. A little bit of a suicide run right there. Not really expecting to get a whole lot out there, but Marco is going to be quite weak as we see the gems tied up at 5-5 right now, Panda.
Indeed, and it's actually a pretty good spot here because Angel Boy just keeps on going in with his super. He's pretty close to that hypercharge, I'm sure. He's going to be sneaking in once more, goes in onto Mark, gets taken out almost immediately, and we have Mori almost getting burnt down with the fire damage, but manages to survive. There is a pull for Mori, but there are more than enough in terms of utilities. Big jump coming in from Maru, who has a hypercharge as well. Gets a lot of fire. I mean, gets a lot of poison damage. Not able to get those kills just yet, but has kept the team sufficiently low. Marco is going to be pretty low, but uses his turret to dodge a lot of these shots here to stay alive.
Yep, we're going to see the 10th gem fall onto the field. If Totem's able to grab that, they would initiate a countdown, but with Angel Boy dying, they're likely going to play a little bit more passive here. Maru's debating going up for that gem that spawned on the side of Reply Totem, but Marco's going to be able to grab that. The Lily Hypercharge goes in, and that's going to immediately destroy Marco. He's going to also go onto Sabine, so that's going to be a double kill. Biso's the last man standing, and we do see the countdown initiated 11-8, so not enough time for the gems to spawn on the order for a tie to pop out for Eclipsar right here. They obviously are able to kill Mari or Maru, but Biso is going to be the last man standing once again. That's going to be game for Totem. Very well played by them to be patient when the game was getting a little bit hectic there. They kind of stayed down until Angel Boy was able to come up with that hypercharge. Very well played by Totem.
Yeah, amazing stuff from Totem, and I feel like the patience from Angel Boy is what basically ensured that they got that dub there. Obviously, Lily without her hypercharge is still going to be pretty scary, but you saw the entirety of Eclipsar. They completely coalesced as a team together to ensure that Lily wasn't going to be able to get any kills, but at the end when the hypercharge came down, Lily was just able to completely go ham and destroy them. We're going to go into game number 2 here. Totem took the first one. It is very close to them taking this one as well, but Suin gets a kill into Mori, and Angel Boy's going to be sneaking up on this right hand side to do a little bit more of those Lily shenanigans that we expected him to do.
Seems like Angel Boy's strategy is just going to be to keep on cycling and cycling until he finally gets that hypercharge that he's able to release onto Marco. But he's able to get a lot of damage there, clear up a lot of space for Mari, who is sitting on 5 gems right now as opposed to the 1 on the side of Eclipsar. Angel Boy is doing absolute work right now. He's already got his hypercharge online as he's kind of hiding in the realm right here. He's going to get pinched out here more than likely, but he should have that hypercharge super ready for the next run in. So definitely looking a lot worse for the side of Eclipsar right here. Mari has his pull, Maru has his jump. And there's not really too much utility for the side of Eclipsar to speak of. That's going to be a fantastic pull from Mari. 8 gems on their head. Angel Boy's going in with hypercharge, and that is going to be more than likely all she wrote. As long as Angel Boy is able to get out of here, which he is with the gadget right there. Very broken stuff on the Lily right there. Surprised to see the Lily first pick work as well as it did, but it seems like this is going to be game over on the side of Totem.
That was a beautiful super from Angel Boy. That hyper super just completely destroyed Eclipsar. And I did expect them to get destroyed by that Lily whenever she got the hypercharge, but not to that level and not to that extent. You see 5-3 on Angel Boy on a Lily on a map like this. I don't think that
Yeah.
should be really expected. So good job by Angel Boy and the entirety of Reply Totem. That was an amazing win there as they extend their lead to 2-1 in terms of set score.
Yeah, very well played, Angel Boy. Playing the aggressive brawler is always about give and take. He wanted to use his gadgets early to kind of start that super cycle for himself. But once the super cycle was going, he wasn't really going into all three of them anymore. He was being a little bit more intentional about which brawlers he chose to go in on, waiting for that hypercharge to make the play of the game. And that's exactly what he did. Very well played. Obviously, a little bit of a crazy first pick with the Lily, but I guess that's just the meta that we're in right now. I mean, these new hypercharges are definitely making their impact known, whether it's the Amber, whether it's the Lily. Haven't really seen the Gus hypercharge or the Griff hypercharge yet, but those are the other two that I'm expecting to kind of make their appearance in the later ends of today's games. But very well played from Totem. They definitely looked like the more confident, better team in that set. I like their draft a lot. I like their gameplay a lot, and they've got one more set to try to lock it out if they want to be secure in their spot as the third best team in this tournament right here. But for set number 4, we're going to have pit stop, where kind of all regular Brawl strategy kind of goes out of the window. Going to be very base racy, very aggressive. I'm looking forward to see what brawlers we might see here, Panda.
Yeah, I mean, base racing is the name of the game for pit stop, but there are some changes, right? The last time we saw pit stop, we didn't have the ice changes the uh for the invincibility frames that you have at every 25%. So that might be playing a little bit of a role. But I feel like on a map like Pit Stop, it shouldn't change that all that much because you don't have pushes which get you more than 25% per pop usually. So maybe it might not play a big role, but we might just see it coming down to the wire because of that.
I would say that the new heist change kind of helps brawlers who are able to get in and get out a little bit quicker. Some examples of that would be Shade, Miko, and Lily, and we do see the Shade and the Miko get banned out here, as well as Lumi, Melody, Colette, and Carl. So definitely a lot of bans that make a lot of sense right here. I feel like the Miko is probably the most annoying brawler on this map, so happy that he's gone. Lily is another brawler who kind of fills that role that's able to kind of just go straight for the safe. She doesn't really have as many escape capabilities as somebody like a Chuck or a Miko would, but I do like the Lily pick quite a fair amount, especially with how hard we saw her eat in the last set. So pretty solid first pick from the side of Eclipsar. Expecting a little bit more aggression coming in from the side of Totem too. Not the best Chuck map, but I could definitely still see it working out if they're able to kind of get their post set up the way they want to. But I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to go more on the aggressive side or the defensive side. There's obviously brawlers like Charlie and Cordelius who are kind of able to shut down some of these more aggressive picks as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see them get drafted early.
Yeah, and as a result, we see Cordelius being picked up by Reply Totem. They go for the Buzz. I feel like Buzz classically on this map is a really great pick. It's able to just, use the torpedoes, get across the map onto the objective, and start dealing out damage. Cordelius, it's invaluable for a defensive player. I feel like in response, Eclipsar should probably take the, what is that brawler called? Charlie, because it satisfies a very similar niche to what Cordelius does on the other side. Eclipsar also with a Lily are going to be able to get onto that safe a lot more guaranteed in a way. But I think that it's still a little bit scary, despite the fact that you have the hypercharge. I feel like an emote such as this, Lily isn't going to be that great because her objective is usually to get kills, right? But here you're going to be using her to get onto the safe to get a lot more damage for the mode objective. So I don't know how that's going to be playing out for Eclipsar, but these next two brawlers are going to be something which will round out the composition and remove a lot of the deficiencies that Lily has, especially as the first pick.
I would guess that the strategy with Lily is mostly going to be to use those gadgets to kind of slip past the enemy lines and just land onto the safe directly. But we see another aggressive pick coming out with the Edgar right here. So we've got two aggro brawlers, one defensive brawler on the side of Eclipsar. Curious if Totem is going to be kind of going with that same strategy. I mean, we see Buzz and Lily kind of do similar things. Cordelius and Charlie kind of do similar things. And we are not going to see that from Totem. We're going to see two defenses and one offense on their comp as they round out their draft with an RT. I really do like this RT pick. It's going to be more or less impossible for the Lily or the Edgar to get a kill onto the RT as long as he's got that super ready. So definitely a very defensive-minded option there. I do think that it could work out pretty well, but they are going to be counting on Buzz for a majority of the safe damage. Curious to see how easily he's going to be able to get onto the safe, especially with the Charlie on defense there.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the RT as much, but I feel like with the double defensive plays, it's really hinging on specifically Buzz, and because of that, it gives me a little bit of pause. I feel like there are two ways of really getting onto the objective for Eclipsar, which Totem don't really have in this situation, and Sabim already going in for the objective is going to get a lot more damage on to the safe as well, and Mori trying to defend against Sabim, not able to do so, but we see the damage slowly whittling in all the way for the side of Eclipse. On the other side, though, Totem are able to get a little bit more damage on the objective as well. They still haven't managed to proc the first invincibility for the safe just yet, but are within striking distance.
We do see a Charlie hypercharge online already, and Biso is going to hit that quite easily. They clean up on the defensive end, and it seems like they're going to be trying to make a push right here. Mori seems like he's going to be on permanent defense in this game. He's leaving his butt directly on the safe as of right now. Marco's going in, but that's going to be cleaned up quite quickly. Be surprised if Sabim's able to get a whole lot more than that done, but he's playing his range well. Mori's going to be able to clean up on the defensive end, but either way, the Lily teleport's going to go in. Maru's going to clean that up, but we're going to need to see some more damage come down from the side of Totem. They are finally in a decent enough position, but Sabim's got hypercharge, and it looks like he's going to be going for blood right there. Fantastic stun from Maru. He's able to combine right there, and the Buzz hypercharge is going to be going in. They're probably going to get that down to 50%. We see the scoreline evened up as Mari does clean up Sabim on the defensive end. Mari's doing a great job keeping Totem in this game so far.
Indeed, it's only a 1% difference here, and in terms of the invincibility, both of them are on the same side. Marco getting the kill on an Angel Boy, but who gets a response? Himself. Now Sabim is going to be playing Ring Around the Rosie with Mori on these back lines here. Has a hypercharge, goes for it, pops it, is going for the kill into Mori. He does manage to get it, jumps in, and now they're going to be able to put down and bridle amount of damage. Eclipsar on this totem save. On the other side, Angel Boy trying to do the same here, but his teammate gets put into a web. They are able to take down that save for another invincibility frame, but it's not going to be all that much. They have a lead here. They could make something happen. There's just a little bit more HP required.
I don't know if Angel Boy is going to be able to finish this off here. He does get Marco into the realm, but he still goes down here. And I have to imagine that they're going to be able to finish this off there. The stun still hits, even with the teleportation. The Charlie Cocoon is going to save them on defense. Can Sabim get a single punch there? He does, but it's still going to be 11% remaining. Angel Boy likely has a jump here, too, that he might be able to use to get onto the safe. Not going to happen yet, though. We see one more chance for Eclipsar here. They need to get 10%. Otherwise, this game's going to be over. But Mori gets the kill, and Sabim gets taken to the realm to secure the win for Totem. Fantastic defense coming down from the Totem boys to be able to secure game number 1. That was crazy. I definitely could have seen that one falling either direction, Panda.
Dude, that was insane. Match point for Reply Totem. They played that one quite perfectly, especially at the end where they were able to get that Cordelia zone to ensure that Sabine was put into the realm there. That was a little scary. I felt like it was more of an Eclipsar game, honestly, but Reply Totem had everything that they needed to do at the end over there. Sabine jumping in, gets taken out by Mori, and the safe has been preserved untouched so far.
Yep, Mori's back into his role as permanent defender. He's doing it better than anybody else. Look at him go, just sliding around in his split form right there, having a good old time. Mari's going to be spawning back in, though, going to be trying to clean up Marco, who does survive on 600 HP. Mori's not going to be able to finish that off, but we see Angel Boy taking Biso into the Shadow Realm. Fantastic play to allow Maru to be able to kind of use his stun, actually get a little bit of damage without getting cocooned right there. So well played there. He does end up getting cocooned after all that, but they almost have the safe down to its first shield right there. Very well played by Angel Boy to get that out of the way, so his Buzz doesn't have to worry about that later. And once again, we see Mari just straight up hanging out on the safe as he's been doing this entire time. Marco does have hypercharge, though. Probably going to be able to clean up Angel Boy right here, but not yet, actually. Sabim uses his hypercharge. Mari's going to have to get out of there. He splits one more time, but there's going to be a lot of damage coming in. It seems like Totem is still going to be on the upper hand for now, though.
Very good defense coming in from Reply Totem, and now Marco gets a little bit more damage on the other side, but not able to get all that much here. You see Angel Boy trying to crack the safe, but not getting to that point just yet. So it's still a pretty even game, though I see that Eclipse are trailing by 1 shield here.
Yep, Marco's going to be popping the gadget right here, trying to get himself into a good position to get a little bit of damage right there. But Mori, as always, is going to be split onto the safe. And I don't know what that jump is from Sabim, jumping straight into both of the RT forms. Going to make quick work of that. The hypercharge is missed by Angel Boy, so it's going to be tough for Maru to find an opening to be able to go in on the safe right here. Angel Boy misses once again right here. Not the finest of aim from him. And now it's going to be Mari in a 1v2 on defense, but if there's anybody built for a 1v2 on defense, it does seem to be the split form RT right here. Marco's got hyper. He's using his gadget, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much more than that. Another solid defense. We see Totems up by 12% right now.
Yeah, only 22 seconds left here. This is gonna be now or never. So we trying to go there. He's playing a little bit of fucking ring around the rosy. Mario getting the stun off onto Marco, not able to get exactly everything he's looking for. Marco gets the kill there. Ninja Boy is alive. He gets the kill on a beast, so he's gonna be able to take down the safe even more. No members of Eclipse are there, and they know that's over. That's all she wrote. That's gonna be a reply totem, taking it 3-1 against Eclipse Esports.
I love the strategy from Reply Totem. They had the double defensive strategy, but the way they used Angel Boy was more or less to kind of clear out the defender on the side of Eclipsar so that Maru was actually able to get some damage. I think that's so smart, the way that he used his super to kind of get Biso out of the picture so he couldn't play defense. And then the RT strategy, man, that might have to be something I kind of take some notes on, because that worked out so incredibly well. There was really nothing that they were able to do when he was split onto the safe. I mean, if you don't have the range to be able to shoot the safe from far away, you kind of have no choice but to walk into the RT. That's exactly what we saw happen. I wish we could have seen how many kills he got through the course of those 2 games, because it had to be double digits. He was doing crazy work on defense there. But overall, fantastic strategy, fantastic draft from the side of Totem, and a much-earned 3-1 victory. That's going to be putting them in the top of the playoff picture.
Indeed, and if you guys are looking for gems, there are some free gems on your screen right now. Use the QR code to get gems. It's first come, first serve. So if you missed it, you missed it. I'm sorry about that. But congratulations to Reply Totem 3-1. That's a stellar win. It wasn't an easy win, all things considered. I feel like Eclipsar Esports, this is probably one of their better match days today. The result didn't reflect that, but in terms of the gameplay that we saw, it was much cleaner than we've seen in this tournament, at least in the earlier match days. So good job from Eclipsar Esports, and congratulations to Reply Totem. They've cemented themselves at the top of the leaderboards, and they have a very good shot at making it to Valencia now, whereas Eclipsar Esports, they have a very difficult conversation with each other as they move on in the next match day, which is going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to be tough pill to swallow for the side of Eclipsar as they drop down to 2-4. That does put them in 7th place as far as this tournament goes so far. So not going to be looking the best for them. They absolutely need to win tomorrow. And even then, they might need a little bit of extra things to fall in their direction. But Totem moves up to 4-2. That's going to put them in our 3 spot and more than likely solidify them a spot in Valencia. So very well played to Totem. I think that they did deserve it. They played fantastically well, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. They are trying to solidify themselves as a top 3 team in Europe, and this is the exact type of performance that they needed to kind of start that conversation right there. So well played to Totem. Like you said, well played to Eclipsar as well. I feel like that was one of their better showings throughout our first couple days of league play. So great, well played to both teams, but at the end, we see Reply Totem coming out on top.
Indeed, and we're gonna go into our next game, which is gonna be SK Gaming versus Ping Abusers. But we're gonna take a small break of about 3 minutes. You can see why we need the break. So we'll see you guys in 3 minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OWN Masters Valencia. It's match day number 6. We finished our first one, which was Reply Totem versus Eclipsar, where Totem took the dub 3-1. Now we have SK Gaming versus Ping Abusers. I'm your host, Pentacast, joined by the amazing Duncan Brawl Stars. Make sure you use code PEN in the shop and subscribe to Duncan Brawl Stars if you haven't already on YouTube, on Twitch. He's there on all of the social media platforms, so make sure you do that because he does ranked content every single day. He does ranked content and he tries to do more than 1 or 2 streams every single week. So make sure you guys follow him. He has all the information you need. I think he's going to be an up and coming content creator. So make sure you guys, keep in tabs of what he's doing.
Much appreciated, Panda. Definitely, man. I'm looking forward for this new ranked season coming out this week, but even more than I'm looking forward to the new ranked season, I'm looking forward to our match number 2 of the day, which is going to be SK Gaming versus Ping Abusers. Our kind of our dark horse of the entire tournament, Ping Abusers, is still in a position to be able to somehow grab a top 4 spot. If they were able to beat SK today, that would put them in such a fantastic position, especially with Eclipsar losing in game number 1 right here. They would be able to kind of solidify themselves above them. SK Gaming, on the other hand, is going to be looking to secure their spot in the top 4. If they win this, they move up to 5-1, and they're going to be the number 2 seed by default right here. But we have our first draft of the day already ready. We've got SK in blue, Ping Abusers in red. Our map is going to be Hideout, and our bans are going to be Gus, Leon, Kenji, Lumi, Jae Young, and Jean.
Yeah, I mean, SK Gaming is probably the scariest team to face right now in Brawl Stars. They've been carrying their way through all of the top teams in EMEA, so I wouldn't want to be any team facing them right now because they're looking to extend the hegemony during the Brawl Cup in Dallas. But at this point, they'll be facing Ping Abusers who aren't as dominant, but have been known to throw some curveballs at their opponents. We are looking to see what's going to be picked up first, and it's going to be Gray from SK Gaming on Hideout. I think it's a great early pick.
Yep, no surprises there. I feel like Gray has been such a solid first pick in the bounty meta, in the knockout meta, kind of any of those life-dependent game modes. I mean, his pure shot is going to be so useful, his TP is going to be so useful, but he does not have the greatest damage. So we're going to see Ping Abusers kind of take that into consideration with an Ollie and with a Byron. I think this is a pretty solid combination from them. Ollie's able to get so many cheeky kills with either of his 2 gadgets. With his super, he's able to do a lot of work, and especially pairing that up with a healer such as Byron is kind of just going to be able to make him even that much more useful. He can play a little bit more reckless. So I think this is a pretty solid shout from the side of Ping Abusers. I think that they need to go a little bit on the aggro if they're going to be able to beat SK Gaming at their own game. But SK is going to take a Pam and an Angela. So a little bit surprised to see the Pam right here. I do understand it though. Feel like Pam should be a pretty solid counter into the Ollie. She's got a lot of HP. She's got a lot of damage. And then Angelo is always just kind of a good shout. He's got a lot of range. She's able to pierce. So I like this comp from SK, but I feel like Ping Abusers can still kind of cook with what they've got going on here.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the out-and-out damage that SK Gaming, I mean, the Ping Abusers need to take down the SK Gaming squad. It's still a lot, right? So I feel like Ping Abusers need to have an out-and-out damage brawler here. I feel like Pearl might be a pretty decent shout here, but I'm not exactly confident with that pick there. Max is available, but with all that speed, you're still not going to have that damage output to take out any of the opponents here. So I feel like Ping Abusers are in a sort of a catch-22 situation here in terms of their draft. I don't think that they have any real way forwards to really counter out this composition that SK Gaming have brought to the table.
I think they're going to kind of have to choose if they're going to play the range game and take a sniper like Mandy or Piper, or if they're going to play the aggro game and add another tank, maybe a brawler like Max, like you said. Could make a lot of sense here, but overall, I think that they kind of have their work cut out for them here. I feel like it's going to be hard for the Ollie to go in onto a Gray with teleport, onto an Angelo, onto a Pam. I mean, obviously, these are some higher HP brawlers considering what they are, so might be a little bit tricky. I'm curious to see which gadget the Ollie is going to be running. I've seen a lot more people go with the gadget that just transform his next main attack rather than the jump gadget. So I could see that kind of making its way into the meta right here. Still waiting on Ping Abusers for that 6th and final pick of our draft right here. But overall, I feel like there are still a pretty solid, pretty good amount of options that they could go with here. It looks like we do have a bug though, so maybe be waiting a little bit longer to find out what that last pick of the draft is, Panda.
Yeah, I believe that one of the teams disconnected accidentally. It happens from time to time. It happens with your Wi-Fi and all that. But understanding that they're going to remake the draft with the exact same things that you see right now, I don't expect anything to change except for obviously the last pick because we don't have that for Ping Abusers here. But in just terms of what I used to see, at least in this in the previous meta, was that Melody was a brawler that a lot of people did bring out. I feel like in terms of the damage potential that Melody can bring out with the hypercharge, especially with all the healing that Byron can give, and possibly even the hypnosis, might be a way forwards for them to get that damage output because of the Pam, and they go for the Piper instead. I feel like the Piper can cook, but it's definitely not going to be against the Pam, because the Pam just has so much of bulk and the amount of healing that she can get for her teammates. I still feel like Piper can do a little bit, but you know, you have to play one of those perfect games as Piper to actually get something going.
I don't hate the Piper pick. I like the range idea here. I mean, assuming that Angela won't be rocking with the jump, you can definitely get a cheeky two-tap onto him. You can kind of take out the Gray relatively easily too, especially if you get some decent wall breaks in. But not sure if they're going to even want to break the walls, considering they do have an Ollie. I'm a little bit sad to see the Piper picked above the Mandy too, how my queen has fallen. But either way, we're getting into our second game of the day, SK versus Ping Abusers. We do see Copy on the Ollie grabbing that blue star, as we expected. But he's going to be taking a lot of damage here. Yannick's going to have to kind of juice him up, but we do see Joker immediately get a teleport onto the field. That's going to be so important for SK for the rest of this game.
For sure, and Yannick connecting that shot on the Joker is going to be huge, because he could have easily got a kill onto Joker if he over-aggressed on this left-hand side. So good job by Joker to ensure that he didn't. But Yannick is such a good marksman on this right-hand side, pushing back OP quite consistently, dodging those shots from Joker as well. On the other side, on the left-hand side, we see Yoshi going up for a mano-a-mano against the Piper. OP is so low by Yannick, and that's kind of crazy. Still, though, not much has happened. Blue Star still very much on the side of Ping Abusers, and it is now SK Gaming, which needs to make some kind of presence known to get a star here.
Yeah, I mean, they have good positioning with the Gray portals. They have a Pam turret if they need it, but this is going to be a really difficult lane for OP to win. Obviously, Yannick's going to be able to keep kind of tickling him down throughout the time, but I mean, OP hasn't really got a whole lot of motion yet. That's a good hook from Joker, but once again, no follow through, so we're still going to be sitting at 1-0 for now. OP is going to be moving over here, but that wall break is going to be coming through from the Piper. Definitely a good idea to kind of clear out some space here. Copy's going in with the gadget. He connects, and that's going to be OP down, but Joker's going to be able to trade it out. Is he going to be able to get out of this alive? Copy is going all out to try to make sure he doesn't, but Copy is going to go down now. And now we're going to see Ping Abusers somehow come out on top of that with a 1-star lead.
That was a good trade. Nice pull coming in. Yeah, it goes down to Joker. That is huge for the side of SK Gaming. With 15 seconds left, the game is going to be closing down very soon. It's now or never for Ping Abusers. Copy tries to go up on the right-hand side. Left-hand side, you have covers, but doesn't really have a good line of sight. Nice pull coming in. Joker is so low. He gets taken out by the poison. Yeah, it gets taken out by OP. And Yoshi finds a kill into covers as well. In the last second, SK Gaming are able to keep their nerves of steel and get that win against Ping Abusers.
What a shot by Yoshi right there, man. Absolute clutch gene activation right there. Yoshi was able to hit the shot of the century right there. I do not know how he was able to finish off that game that well, but very well played to the side of SK. That was a pretty hectic game overall. I think Ping Abusers did what they needed to do, but that one death from Yannick really went a long way when he did get hooked by Joker. But we're getting into game number 2. Definitely not out of the water yet, especially with that beautiful hook right there. OP is going to go down, and that's going to be 3-0. Not going to be able to trade anybody out for SK right there. So SK is once again in a pretty bad situation so far.
Ooh, Joker in a difficult position there. Has being pushed back as well. Gadget from Yannick to find OP, who will get peppered a little bit, but I feel like OP's turret is going to make it very difficult for him to really get much value out of it. And Copy is very low, does have a super, he's going to get found out here. So low, managing to survive with the sliver of HP to his name is going to get whacked by both Yoshi, but Yannick gets taken out by Joker. Joker is very low, manages to survive. Copy going in for the hypnosis, able to find Joker. OP gets taken out, covers gets taken out by Yoshi, and the lead change is back in favor of SK Gaming.
That was so well played by Copy, but his teammate ended up dying, so it didn't even matter at the end of the day. But we see the Piper wall break finally coming through here. Yoshi is going to be able to kind of move a little bit freer as a result of that. The jump is a little bit late, so they're all going to have to retreat to the Pam turret back here. Joker has his hypercharge, though, and that's going to be the freest kill he'll see all day onto covers right there. But Copy's doing what he can here. Yannick goes down as well. And now we see a 5-star lead for the side of SK with only 30 seconds left. Ping Abusers are going to have to make a pretty insane push right here. This is not looking good for them.
Yeah, with Copy already popping his gadget, they know his hand here, so they're focusing him down. Now Copy goes in, he's able to get a double hypnosis. Can they get the kill here? They're not able to do so. Copy has another super, but Yoshi finds a kill on Yannick. He gets taken out himself, Copy, and it's looking great for SK Gaming as they have a 11 star lead. I can't do math.
Yeah, it's a really hard comp to push into, honestly. I mean, the Ope Pam with his turret back there, with Yoshi charging up his full shots right there, it's going to be more or less impossible to make the comeback at the end of the game. So well played to SK. Ping Abusers had a couple of moments of brilliance where it looked like they might be able to pull out an upset win right there. But overall, SK was just a little bit more cool, calm, and composed at the end of the games. And that's going to result in them taking our first set right there. Very well played to both teams, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was beautifully played by SK Gaming, but I have to say, I didn't expect it to be as close as it was with Ping of Users, and that just shows how good this squad actually is. SK Gaming, I feel like undoubtedly right now is probably one of the top like 3-4 teams in the world right now. So
Oh, yeah.
for Ping of Users to make it that cheeky and make it that close against SK Gaming is should inspire some confidence in them, especially how Yannick was able to get so many of those important kills. But understanding and identifying that, you saw a Joker and Yoshi actually ensuring that they always kept their eye on Yannick in those situations. You saw those pulls from Joker, and I just think that SK Gaming played it very, very cleanly, and Ping Abusers had some pop-off moments, and I feel like that was basically emblematic of how the entirety of the set went with SK and Ping Abusers in the first set.
Yep, Bounty is one of those game modes where you really have to be very well coordinated as a team, and it's going to be hard to find a team better coordinated than the side of SK Gaming. But kind of along that lines, for our second set, we're going to have Knockout. It's going to be out in the open. So once again, I think this should kind of play into SK's strengths, as they are a very, very well-gelled team. They work together very, very well. Ping Abusers, on the other hand, is a little bit more hectic at moments. So we're going to have to see if they're able to kind of put together a little bit of a better strategy here. But SK is going to take the Lumi with the first pick. We see our bans come through: Byron, Brock, Piper, and then Ping Abusers banning out Hank, Max, and Gene. So it looks like SK is banning more of the snipers, Ping Abusers banning more of the aggro options right there. I like the Lumi first pick. I do think that even with the nerf, she is definitely still a top 3 brawler in the game. That gadget is still so ridiculously annoying. Supercell, if you're hearing me, please nerf that Lumi gadget. 2 lose supers for free every 20 seconds should not be in the game. But either way, the Lumi first pick is going to be quite useful. I feel like she's decent into everything except for like super hard assassins or super far range. But the area denial is going to be super important. We see Ping Abusers going with the Angelo and the Gus at the 2-3 though, Panda.
I like the Gus here. I mean, obviously Hypercharge is something to talk about, but it's gonna pair well with some kind of tankier brawler. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something tanky coming out from Ping Abusers as the last pick, say an Ollie, for example. SK may have the next two. RT is certainly a brawler that they could go for. It will de-incentivize something like a Ollie coming out. Something else that you could possibly see would be a Pearl, possibly. I think that Pearl is also going to be a nice brawler because it has a lot of damage output. Jae Young hasn't been banned, so possible to pick him up here for SK Gaming, though I'm not sure if that would be the best decision. They go for the RT and the Gray, so sticking true to the fundamentals of this map along with the Lumi. I think this is a very strong SK draft, but Ping Abusers have this last pick here that they have.
I feel like SK kind of has all their bases covered, but I think a lot of their comp is built around countering out aggro, and we just don't see any aggro from the side of Ping Abusers. I kind of doubt that they'll add one at this point, maybe an Ollie if anything, but overall it's going to be pretty difficult to push into an RT and a Lumi. So I think Ping Abusers is kind of exactly where they want to be right now. Playing at range against these options is probably going to be the best way to defeat them, and we see them kind of continue that thought. They grab a bell with their final pick of the draft. So we got 3 very, very ranged brawlers on the side of Ping Abusers. It's probably going to be pretty difficult for the Gray or the Lumi to land too many shots. I think that they're going to be counting on the RT taps quite a fair amount, and then if it does get into the end game, then the Gray pulls and teleports, as well as the Lumi gadgets and supers, could definitely make themselves known. I think that the later this game goes, the better it is for SK, but Ping Abusers could get an early pick that changes everything.
Yeah, it certainly goes down to how they want to approach this one. For sure, SK Gaming would like to force it towards the end and overtime because they do have a lot of utilities and abilities which will help them in overtime. But Ping Abusers need to be quite aggressive because early to mid game is basically where they would be the best at, and I feel like earlier in the rounds are what they want to get their dubs in. So They have to be quite aggressive and quite confident with the way they're playing this one because they do have the range advantage, so they need to use that against SK Gaming to come out on top here. But SK Gaming, I think that even with the range disparity, considering what they have in terms of their cards, it's gonna be hard for ping abusers to really compete here.
Yeah, I think that the gray teleportation is going to be something to keep an eye out for. If he's not able to connect very many of those early shots, then he might not be as much of a player until the very, very end of the game. But he's going to have to play a little bit aggressive in order to get 4 shots for his teleport. So it might be a little bit difficult. Lumi as well is going to have to play a little bit further back. Can't really hang with any of these brawlers at range. But overall, like I said, I think that the earlier into the round that we see kills come out for ping abusers, the better it's going to be for them. If it does get into the late game with the Lumi supers and gadgets, the RT super, it's just going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of work for ping abusers to be able to hit the amount of shots that they need to hit. So kind of curious to see how aggressive both of these teams choose to play it. Wouldn't be surprised if ping abusers gets a little bit on the aggression at the beginning of this game right here, but kind of just waiting for this game to start. Panda, what do you think about this matchup so far?
I mean, I like this composition from SK Gaming. I feel like ping abusers have to play this nigh perfectly if they want to get the dub against SK Gaming here. I mean, I feel like I would say that on a good day, but with the draft here, I'm not saying that the ping abuser draft is worse by any means. I just feel like the utilities that SK Gaming bring to the table here with their brawler set is just a little bit difficult to come out on top against if you have the ping abusers composition. We're gonna go to game. We're gonna go to game number 1 here off this set, the second set between S Gaming and Ping Abusers, and already a really great start from S Gaming in terms of control. They've pushed back Ping Abusers a lot. We have a grand piano. That is,
Yeah.
is that a misclick?
I don't know. I'm a little bit surprised to see that. I guess he kind of just assumed that he wouldn't be able to hang at range
Oh,
with any of these brawlers. I think it's on purpose. I think they just want to break the grass, but definitely an interesting strategy with Joker on the gray right there. Haven't seen that gadget in a little bit of time. But overall, so far, we see Lumi is very comfortable just kind of leaving her Morning Stars up in those choke points, not really going to press too much, kind of waiting for those gadgets to come in, waiting for anybody on ping abusers to overstep. Haven't seen a whole lot of shots connect from either sides right now, but that's going to be a well-timed gadget from Ope. Copy gets caught lacking, and that's going to be a quick kill for him right there. Joker might go down to Yannick, but with the heal coming through, it's still not going to be enough to prevent the Lumi death right there. And it's going to be covers left in a 1v2. Probably not a whole lot he can do here. I mean, Ope is quite weak. He does get the kill, but was probably never going to be able to kill Yoshi in that circumstance anyway.
yeah, I think that's probably a good decision, actually, not taking the... I don't know if that was a good decision or not, taking the cane. I'm still kind of coming to terms with that. It still doesn't make all the sense in the world, but maybe what you said about the range disparity might be one of the reasons, right? We did see Yetta getting the better of his matchup against Joker on the first round here. Maybe he's going to be able to replicate a little bit more of the same. Joker moving up quite aggressively, gets one hit. He also has his super here, finds another one as well, uses the grand piano to break down a little bit more of that grass cover, still not opening up the map all the more for ping abusers here. As he goes in here, should be able to get the kill on Yannick, and he should be able to get out here as well. There is a slight trade here, and it's going to be a 2v2 for this side here.
Surprised Copy was able to get out of that. He got caught in the Lumi gadget once again, definitely getting a little bit out of position, slipping and sliding around the map, but that's a great mark over there. And Joker's going to be on the back foot right here. He's definitely going to be two-shottable for Copy or covers at this point. Yoshi's trying to hit all the taps he can. We see the Bell Hyper go online, and it's just going to be Bell left in this 2v1 with SK healing up. That's not going to be enough damage. They're going to kind of walk him down right there. Copy did a good job of making that a close one, but overall, just seems like there's just a little bit too much utility from the side of SK. And honestly, Panda, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of liking the piano pick. I mean, having no grass on the field, it makes it a lot more difficult to hit some of those sneaky snipes, especially for Angelo. So overall, pretty interesting draft, pretty interesting loadout choices so far. But I guess we just got to trust SK to cook, man. I mean, they haven't led us astray yet.
I mean, that is true. That is true. They haven't led us astray yet, but I'm still like, I don't know. I feel like Cat is definitely gaslighting me into saying that grand piano is a more common pick. That is definitely not the case, chat. You can't gaslight me. Anyway, Calpy goes down here. Already a great start for SK Gaming as they have pushed back and made it a 3v2 scenario for themselves.
Yep, that's going to be a very brutal death for Copy on the bell right there. It's going to be pretty tough for his teammates to be able to come out on top here. And honestly, SK might just take their time, let Joker keep on farming these pianos right here, get all the grass out of the way. Seems like they're in no rush at all to kill Yannick. They'll keep cycling these gadgets for as long as they need to. But this is going to be more or less impossible for Ping Abusers to win. Honestly, the quicker that he's able to run into the smoke, probably the better it is for them. That's exactly what we're going to see here. But SK only needs one more round to be able to take a 2-0 lead against Ping Abusers. Kind of what we expected, but definitely not what we were hoping for. Definitely need Ping Abusers to step up to the plate right now or never.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, the Grand Piano on the right-hand side. This is making sure that no grass is there for Yannick to really hide behind here. Joker is going up against him on the mano a mano. On the other side, you have Ope, just ensuring that covers and Copy can't really move up. I feel like once you've lost a lot of control against Illumi on this map, especially on this left lane, it's going to be hard to get back into the swing of things because of that one gadget which makes two loose supers on the map. Yannick going up against Joker on this right-hand side has a super, but Joker, the best way to counter out Angela's super is just to move away from it. So that's exactly what he did.
Yep, and we're going to see the Lumi gadget come through, so Ping Abusers are going to have to kind of fall back, but Joker teleports up. Barely even saw that, but he's going to catch Yannick and jump all the way out of here. He's going to throw a Grand Piano in as well, but Ope takes the TP now, and once again, we have a 3v1, and it looks like that's going to do it for our knockout set. So throughout both Bounty and Knockout, we just saw better coordination from the side of SK, and that's going to be a pretty clean sweep for them so far. So Ping Abusers have their back against the wall, down 0-2 against one of the best teams in the world. They've definitely got their work cut out for them, but I mean, that was definitely well played to SK. Very well earned, well deserved set right there.
Yeah, I mean that was beautiful coming in from SK. I mean, I feel like they're performing at like the level that you expect a team that's going in a Brawl Cup to perform at. I feel like Pink Abusers are playing it well. The first set was beautiful. The second set, it could be better, but SK Gaming was just firing on all cylinders. I just like the confidence with which they're playing, and I feel like out in the open, you need to have that confidence. You need to have the good team synergy, and I felt like in the entirety of the set and out in the open, you never had a moment where SK Gaming were pressured to the point where they had to change their game plan. Every single time, it was everything going according to the SK playbook. So very well played by that squad.
Yep, definitely. And now we're going to be going into our set number 3, which is going to be match point for SK Gaming, but it's going to be hot zone. The map will be open zone. So definitely a little bit of a healthy switch up from the more life dependent game modes such as Bounty and Knockout. We're going to be getting a little bit more aggression on the board, hopefully. Obviously, the name of the game in hot zone is kind of just to take some higher HP options and just be able to kind of sit and milk on that zone. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to here. Maybe some brawlers like Pam could come back in. Amber, I think, could be a good option here. Still haven't seen the new Griff hypercharge yet, but that's something that probably could work out, especially if the other team is going to be taking like some more aggressive options, such as Draco. I think that we could end up seeing a Griff here. I'm still holding that hope. Maybe I'm making my bias a little bit too obvious here, but either way, looking forward to getting into this draft right here. Ping Abusers looking to take a singular game off of SK, but here we go. We've got our draft teed up here, Panda. What are we looking at?
We have
What are we
Max
looking at?
Kenji Band along with Poco, Lumi, and Lu Band. Not sure what the last one is.
Yeah.
I need to get confirmation from production. About the Pam, right? We saw Pam being brought out by Juan Carlos in NA, and I feel like after that, a lot of teams are just, going in for the Pam. They like the Pam pick a lot more. And as a result, we have a first pick Pam here coming in from SKB. The bulk, the amount of healing that she can do, and the fact that she pairs well with almost any brawler because of the fact that there is those unbreakable walls in the mid here allows you to put the turret behind it. And then the left lane and the mid are pretty hard to lose after that has been set up. So SK Gaming with a very strong first pick with a Pam.
Yep, if there ever was a map for Pam, this is the map for Pam. So definitely not too surprised to see that come down here. Very curious to see if Ping Abusers are going to go with a little bit more range or a little bit more aggression. Obviously, Pam is a pretty solid counter to some of the more aggressive brawlers in the game. So I kind of think that's what SK Gaming is going for with that first pick here. They want to dissuade them from going options like Draco. That kind of could just be very, very annoying and just kind of sitting onto the zone. So I like what they've got going here. It looks like we are going to see the Finks come down again. Another brawler that I think is quite menacing in hot zone, especially on a map like open zone. And paired up with the Byron, we saw the Finks Jae Young synergy doing a ton of
Ooh.
work. So I think that the Byron Finks synergy probably should be similar. I'm also wondering if that third ban brawler from the side of SK might be Jay Young. Maybe because he's a new brawler, they don't have the asset ready yet there. But overall, I'm not surprised to see the Byron. He's got a lot of range here. He can definitely be pretty good. Paired up with a tank counter, I like what ping abusers are cooking here.
I have to mention that the Finks is so dominating, so domineering, and it's hard to really go up against a team if they are like farming up those Sphinx supers, and we saw that happening on another, I believe, hot zone set in the day earlier. So wouldn't be surprised to see how strong Sphinx can possibly be. Also, the fact that you are going up against a Pam with those Sphinx supers, it's going to be easier to get out of the way of those Pam projectiles. And SKA going to go for the bow along with the Jaeyoung. I like this composition. They have an insane amount of bulk with both the Pam and the Jaeyoung, and then all of the hazards with the bow supers and the bow totems and the hypercharges and whatnot. I like this SK Gaming draft.
Yeah, Bo's a really solid brawler, especially in hot zone. Even if you know exactly where the mines are, you still have to waste time disarming them. It makes your movements a little bit more predictable. So I think it's a great option. They've got a lot of HP too. I mean, two of the tankier ranged brawlers in the game with the Pam and the bow, and then not even to speak of the Jay Young heals and speed that he's able to offer. Definitely going to be a pretty impressive comp from the side of SK. And I think that the Jay Young speed off of the rip is going to be so useful too. Kind of able to get your teammates into the zone before the opposing team. But Ping Abuser's going with the Hank last pick. A little bit out there in my opinion. I mean, I feel like the damage from SK is going to be enough to kind of deal with him, but overall, I think that they kind of just think that they have to make something shake. They're pairing up a tank with that healer right there. So maybe they'll be able to cook on the Hank. Maybe they'll get absolutely dominated here. I really don't know what to expect here, but I think I do probably lean more towards SK's comp.
For sure. And that third ban, we just got confirmation from production that it is in fact Amber. Not sure why it's not displaying. We're gonna go into game number 1 of this third set here. SK Gaming took the first 2 quite easily. Coverage is gonna be taken down despite all the healings coming in from Yannick, and there's a big chug jug being popped by Yannick. He gets taken out by Joker, and that's a great start for SK Gaming. They have all the control in the world. They have all the utilities down along with that Pab super. It's not looking good for Ping Abusers, and we've just been in this game for less than a minute.
I'm not gonna lie, Panda. I would hate to play into this SK comp right here. They've already got 8 bow mines on the field. They have the bow turret with the Pam turret, and then you're just adding a Jae Young into the mix. Like, it's not even fair. I feel like this is definitely a little bit of an outdraft from SK. OPE is going in and doing so much work right here. Yannick's gonna go down, and cover so far has just kind of been feeding. I'm not gonna lie, not really a whole lot of work he's been able to get done. Just gonna be the Finks left on his own, but we see a 50% lead already.
Yeah, I feel like you need to give the Hank the wasabi because it's not going to be working out for them here. All those dodges, though, were kind of insane coming in from Copy, but that's to be expected once you have that super down. Cover's going in quite effectively here. He's going to go up against Joker. Can he find the kill? He does find 1 kill going up against Yoshi. Gets taken out himself, Joker falling as well. And now Copy is the lone man who gets taken out for Ping Abusers. SK Gaming forced their lead to more than 50% here.
Yep, and only 20% remaining on the zone. Ope is just kind of chilling in his heal mode. He's going to give the speed right here to be able to get away from the Hank bubbles, but that's going to be the bow mines coming in clutch. Copy is going to follow, and that is going to be game number 1 of Open Zone going into the hands of SK. That brings us to our match point. Ping Abusers is looking like they might be getting swept right here, Panda.
Yeah, it's not looking that good for them. The draft itself was a little suspect because if you look at back at the draft, right, you had SK going for the Pam first. So if you look at healers, you should be thinking about Jaeyoung instead of Byron because I feel like Jaeyoung right now is the strat for having your support in the healing. So the fact that they decided to opt for Byron instead of Jaeyoung was probably already ill-advised, and then it just makes it that much harder for them to really compete against SK Gaming. We're going to go into this last game, possibly, of the set. Maybe that's a little bit premature for me, between SK Gaming and Pig Abuser. SK are on match point here, and they are looking quite confident. I don't think they're being pressured at all here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we are going to see a kill go down early. Covers looks like he's doing a lot more work on the Hank this time around. He's going to be able to take that out, but there's a bow mine waiting for him. Unfortunate stuff right there. Yoshi's already got a hypercharge. That bow totem was just able to charge supers and hypers so ridiculously quick. And now, once again, SK has the full setup right here. 7 mines on the zone. Covers is walking in with his big bubble onto another bow mine. Panda, I really have a hard time seeing how Ping Abusers takes this. I'm not going to lie to you, man.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that we need to have a boat totem nerf because I feel like it doesn't make sense that he's able to charge your hyper charge. I feel like only the super should be charged up more, not the hyper. But that's just a me sort of situation here. Cover's going up against Joker, not able to get the kill there. He is finally able to find the kill there. Is almost a team wipe here, and just like that, Pig Abusers are back in this game with only a 20% disparity in terms of the possession of the hot zone, demarcating the difference between these two teams.
Yeah, Covers and Yannick are doing a much better job this game. Covers is avoiding a lot more of the damage in the mines. Yannick is doing a better job healing, but there we see Yannick go down to the mines. That's going to be Covers healing all gone, but they are kind of able to clean up right here. And it looks like Covers is still kind of chilling. Disarming these bow mines gets a huge bubble off there. We see Ping Abusers with the lead. It looks like they're trying to make this a competitive set. And that Hank Super did a lot of work right there. This game is not over yet, Panda. Maybe we did get ahead of ourselves.
Poppy just dodged himself all the way into all of those bow shots. Ooh, those bow mines have been clutched. Yet it gets taken out. This is heartbreak for Pig Abusers. Nice game. Have a way and a path forward to come back in this one.
Yeah, definitely needed to survive that. Yoshi's got 5 more mines onto the zone right now here. Covers moving back up with his big bubble. Ope's got the damage gear to kind of do some work into that. But we're going to see some kills go out here. Joker's going to throw the turret onto himself. Copy is likely going to go down to the Jae Young right here. And now we see it tied up at 90% to 90%. Covers and Yannick have to make an insane push right here through the bow mines, and it's not going to happen. That's going to be a sweep for SK Gaming. Well played by Ping Abusers to make it a competitive final game. They can hang their hats up on that and be proud of themselves. But overall, very, very dominant from SK today.
Yeah, I have to say, I am quite impressed with how SK have been playing this, right? They've been quite clean with how they're approaching this, and they deserve that dub. But I am still such a huge Pig Abusers fan. I have to say, they had no business making some of those games as close as they did make them. So congratulations to SK for the win, but congratulations to Pig Abusers for showing us that even if you are discounted in the competition, you're still not out till the fat panda sings, I guess.
Yeah, never over till it's over, man. And it's never over for you guys to try and get your hands on some free gems if you scan that QR code first. But either way, very well played to SK. Very, very easy handling of business for them. So they're going to be moving up to, I believe, 5. Yep, they're going to be moving up to 5-1 throughout days of gameplay. But guys, before we get into our third match of the day, we are going to take a quick 3-minute break here. So stay tuned for our third match of the day, which is going to be Humble versus Inner Circle. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
We're not done, chat. We still have some more games. We're gonna be back in like a few minutes or so. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OWN Masters Valencia. I'm your host, Petacast, joined by the amazing Duncan Brawl Stars. It is match day number 6. We've finished 50% off our matches today. We have 2 more, and then 4 more tomorrow to round out this league phase of competition. Right now, we have Humble versus Inner Circle, but we did finish 2 matches earlier on today. We have Reply Totem versus Eclipse, our esport, where Reply Totem took it 3-1, and then we have SK Gaming versus Ping Abusers, which was a clean sweep for SK Gaming with a 3-0 scoreline. Now, with Humble versus Inner Circle, is certainly going to be an interesting match here, Duncan.
Yep, Humble is still our only undefeated team throughout our first 5 full days of league play, so they're going to be looking to continue their dominance, extend their lead to 6-0, 6 wins, 0 losses throughout 6 days. That's going to be what they're going for, but Inner Circle is going to be doing all that they can to kind of prevent that from happening. They're sitting at 2-3 right now, so with Ping Abusers falling to 2-4, with the Clipstar falling to 2-4, Inner Circle has a chance with a win here to put themselves into playoff contention at 3-3 rather than also falling to 3-4. So lots to play for Inner Circle. Things have kind of fallen the way that they needed them to fall today, but once again, sitting between them and victory is going to be one of the best teams in the world. Definitely one of the top 2 teams in Europe and the top team throughout the top 1 team throughout our first 5 days of league play. So definitely going to have to kind of slay the giant to be able to slide into that number 4 spot so far, but lots to play for. I'm looking forward to this one. See if Humble can keep up the dominance.
Yeah, it's David versus Goliath story, but this time I don't know if it's going to go the way of David here. But just looking at what we saw here, right? Eclipsar took the L, Ping Abusers took the L. If Inner Circle take the L, this is going to be something that Team Heretics is looking for, right? If Humble win this, Team Heretics is like in the best spot ever because then they're masters of their own destiny. They don't have to really depend on anybody else to make it possible for them to progress. So, you know, I think that the biggest fans of Humble right now are going to be Team Heretics, and Humble, they are at the top of the leaderboards, and undeniably right now they are the top teams in the world right now. They are as dominant as SK Gaming, and they'll be facing a team though known for their unpredictability. And since we do have slightly some changes in the meta, the anarchy presented by Inner Circle is something that cannot be understated. It's something to keep on your toes about, and I feel like it's probably unlikely, but if Humble aren't prepared for the task of the unpredictability that Inner Circle can field, it might be a loss for Humble. Though, that is a very tall order, and that's a very big ask, but it's certainly a possibility.
Yep, I think that the unpredictability could be something that Inner Circle wants to take advantage of here. Obviously, if they're just going toe-to-toe against Humble, it's going to be a tall task, but like we said, one of our main storylines for today was the 4 teams tied at 2-3, none of them playing each other. And so far, the first 2-3 teams have both fallen to 2-4. So that's definitely what Inner Circle wanted to see. That's definitely what Team Heretics wanted to see. So it's kind of wide open for that number 4 spot in our playoff picture right now. Even if the top 3 are looking pretty comfortable right now, it's going to be a dogfight for that 4th spot. So Inner Circle definitely needs to make a statement right here. Humble, on the other hand, a little bit less to play for. So maybe they get caught sleeping a little bit since they have already secured a spot in the LAN in Valencia, but overall definitely going to be a pretty exciting matchup. Looking forward to see if Inner Circle can kind of knock them off their post here.
I don't know, man. Like, if I'm Humble right now, I would expect to be at the best form possible right now, because Humble and SK need to be at their top of the game going into Brawl Cup, because one of the things is the top team, the team that finishes first at Brawl Cup, secures an extra entry for LCQ and World Finals for their region. So this is a very, very important dub here. If SK and Humble are going to win in the Brawl Cup, it's going to ensure that some of the other teams here in this lineup at OWN might make it all the way to World Finals at LCQ later on in the season. So you're going to have a lot of people who are looking closely at how Humble play day against Inner Circle and the rest of the competitions, just to see how they can take down Humble and SK Gaming, you know?
Yep, Humble and SK Gaming, man. Those have been our top 2 teams, but it looks like we are going into set number 1 for Humble versus Inner Circle. The map is going to be triple dribble. We see our bans come through. We got Lou, B, Chester, Kenji, and Lumi are banned out, so only 5 bans, and we do see the Jae Young be swooped up with that first pick from Humble. Definitely a brawler that we've seen show a lot of versatility in the meta today. I feel like he's definitely going to be pretty good in Brawl Ball too. I believe that this is the first Brawl Ball match that we're seeing of the entire day, so excited to finally get some Brawl Ball action. And a brawler with speed and heals is definitely going to make his presence known in a mode like Brawl Ball where speed and heals are so important. So love the Jae Young pick. Definitely leaves them a lot of options, a lot of more tanky or aggro options that they can go later in the draft. Overall, I like that first pick from Humble though.
Yeah, I think that gives you a lot of confidence here. Classically, we do tend to have one thrower on either side. They go for a Max along with a Hank. I like the Max speed. The Hank might be good for some of the tankier options that Humble might bring to the table. And obviously, with Jae Young being brought out to the fore, that certainly seems to be the possibility for Humble. So I like this Hank pick, all things considered, for Inner Circle.
I really do like the Hank pick. The Max pick, though, I'm not as sure about. Obviously, with Jae Young already taken, that is the other speed brawler out of the picture, but I feel like Jae Young kind of outclasses Max in exactly what Max wants to do, so it's going to be a little tough as far as the support brawler diff goes. I think that Humble does have the advantage there, but Hank is a brawler that we've seen just be so menacing throughout so many different metas on any different game modes. Like, he's one of the most versatile brawlers in the game somehow, and we just continue to see pros abusing him, so I think that he'll definitely make his impact known on this triple dribble set right here. Draft going back over to Humble, though, it looks like they're probably going to have to get a little bit more tank countery. Obviously, Jae Young does struggle a bit in the damage department, and we see the ultimate tank counter, who happens to be a tank himself. It's going to be the El Primo coming out. Not something I really expected to see, but could definitely be pretty useful into the Hank, and as well as the Finks, which we've seen emerge as one of the better tank counters in the meta. I definitely like this draft from Humble. A little bit confused about the Primo, but his goal scoring capabilities definitely provide a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like the Primo pick is antithesis to the Finks. Like, you're not going to get as much value for the Finks because of the Primo existing. Inner Circle going for a doubling down on the tank, so they go for speed along with double tanks here. So they're trying to blitz all the way through the Humble opposition. And in terms of the damage output, I don't really expect Humble to easily outdo Inner Circle, but I feel like Primo's going to be able to get those jumps a lot more and those wall breaks. So that's something to think about. I feel like you're going to have those goal scoring opportunities a lot more now.
Yeah, I think that Primo is going to be a pretty play dependent guy. I don't know if he's going to be kind of controlling the entirety of the game, but if he's able to get a goal or two, it could be huge. But we're going into game number 1. Something else to keep in mind is that the Fink Super is only going to affect the Max, so it's not going to affect Shade or Hank at all. But Lukey is on a tear already. He's going to get a double kill, and then his teammates are just going to tank for him. That is going to be an incredibly quick goal right there. We just saw Inner Circle had no defense for the Primo right there, and he just absolutely walked right through them.
Yeah, he was just holding W. That's kind of crazy, the fact that he's allowed to all that space over there. He jumps in once more onto Rama, gets taken out with the super. There is going to be that super placed by Semantic, and he gets taken out himself. On the other side, oh, sorry, Semantic is actually alive, but it finally gets taken out by Rama. Boss getting taken out by Nob, and it's a good spot for Inner Circle, as they've made sure that they have pushed back against their opposition. Rama going down, but Nob still has his super here. Goes in for Lukey, finds the kill as well. Semantic going to be putting down his super on this left-hand side, just to ensure that it's not easy for Nob to really compete on this left.
Yeah, once Rama starts cycling through those supers, it's definitely going to make Lukey's life on the Primo pretty difficult. Going to be hard to jump onto a Hank with super. He does have hypercharge popped as well, but so does Lukey, and he's going to absolutely almost clean up right there. Rama does get the heals from his super, and Boss survives, so it's going to be Semantic walking away as the lone survivor of that hectic interaction right there. Establishing a little bit of position here for the side of Humble, but Lukey has super, definitely somebody to keep your eye on. He might be able to go for a goal scoring play here, but he misses his jump onto Nob. Rama gets the speed, and he's going on a tear right now. Might be able to find the angle, but Boss with the Jae Young speed is able to get back in the nick of time right there. Very well played to use that Jae Young speed to be able to play some defense. Humble lives to see another day.
Dude, I thought that was going to go in. I didn't expect Jaeyoung to be able to get there, and that was so clutch. Luki going in, gets taken out, hypercharge being popped by Mebius along with all that speed. Nafa is killing a boss. Semantic, the lone man alive, and his team gets taken out, gets deleted. Ball being passed, Tiki Taka. Mebius able to score that one in. It's going to be tied at 1 apiece with only 30 seconds left.
That was a very well-timed goal. They needed that right now more than ever, but Nob is using his super to get a lot of positioning back here. Semantic dips out of there, but Luki's going for it. The ball is cornered just in time, though. Rama's on defense all by himself, trying to do everything he can, but it looks like Humble's going to be able to clear this out. We see Nob with the interception, though. More than happy to put the ball back into that corner. Luki's going to be getting a significant amount of damage, though. And with the Jae Young speed, it looks like they might be going for a play here, but it's not going to be able to walk through Rama's bubble right there. Not really too sure what Luki was cooking right there, but either way, boss popping the damage gadget. As we go into OT, he's going to get cleaned up by Nob. Rama heals up with the super, and Inner Circle's in a great position to maybe be able to score here. Luki's doing all he can to prevent it, but it seems like it's going to be a 2v1. Is Boss able to defend? Ooh. Barely not able to defend. Well played by Mebius to be patient with that goal. That's going to be game 1 going to IC.
That was crazy from Inner Circle. This is why I say that these guys are the kings of unpredictability. You might be one of the best teams in the region. You might be the team which is undefeated in the OWN, but Inner Circle just doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, that was very well played. I loved what they did with the Hank right there. Once they get those supers rolling, it's going to be hard to kill him. He gets so much healing from just popping that super, even if he doesn't get any hits. But we're going into game 2. Humble got off to a very quick start last time, and it seems like Inner Circle is going to be able to kind of prevent that this time. They get the ball moved up. The Primo trades out, and it seems like Rama's just going to be kind of biding his time over on the right. Nob already has super online, though. Semantic's able to clean him up. Very intense 1v1 over there. We see the Primo with super going up here. A little bit of a questionable miss on the jump right there, but Rama has his super. Doesn't matter. Luki cycles. Now we see Boss is just on a tear with his Jae Young speed, popping the damage gadget. Nob's doing what he can to defend, and it looks like Mebius is going to be cornering it for the time being.
You know, Luki has missed so many of these jumps that I feel like it might be low-key intentional. I hope that's probably it, because it doesn't make sense the number of times he's missed it. And maybe Chad can explain to me why that is. He goes in again, misses it once more, manages to get the ball out of that situation there. Rama gets taken out by Semantic, and Luki also falls. Semantic is going to be trying to get for a goal here. Passes the ball, Boss. Boss is able to get this one in. It's fed. That is going to be goal number 1 for the side of Humble. 1:20 on the clock here, Duncan.
Fantastic connection on the pass right there. We see Luki going in with Hyper on Rama, who also has Hyper, but Nob cleans up, and he's going to sneak through for a free goal at only 500 HP. Very quick response right there. Fantastic work. We're tied up at 1 apiece. And to your point about the Primo jumps, I do think that he might have been trying to break the wall as well as get a hit right there. So maybe getting a little greedy, can't do all things at once. But Nob is on a tear right now, using these walls to his advantage. Rama gets the ball here too, and they might be able to walk it through here. But Luki's doing all he can to defend. He somehow gets the rebound right there. Fantastic defense. And he's going to have that super as well. Not going to connect on that. Nob survives on 300 HP. Amazing defense from Humble there. I thought they might have been cooked.
Dude, that face shift from Mebius to stay alive was kind of crazy, and those gameplay to ensure that Humble stays in was kind of crazy. 30 seconds left in the clock. We might go into overtime. So Nob with the speed, he going in very aggressively, gets even more speed. He's cycling that like it's his life right now. And Rama getting taken out by Luki is going to be huge for the side of Humble with only 15 seconds left and all the positioning in the world. Humble looking really strong right now.
Yep, we see Boss switch into his speed mode right there. It's going to be giving Luki a lot of utility to work with. The Hank Hypercharge is going to come in, but the double jump from Luki might be too much to overcome, and it is indeed going to be too much to overcome. Humble's going to tie up our Brawl Ball set with Boss slotting it in right there. This is an amazing game, though, man. I'm glad we finally got to get into some Brawl Ball action, because this is what I watch Brawl Stars for, Panda. Amazing stuff going on.
That was an electrifying game. We're only in the second game here. I feel like this might be one of the series of all time here for OW, and that was just beautiful to look at. And hopefully we see something coming back from Inner Circle, because they were quite dominant in the second half of the first game, and also in parts of the second game as well. We did see Humble ensuring that they weren't completely taken away and swept by the momentum. We go into game number 3, but it seems like Humble have already got the first goal here.
Yeah, it seems like something that we saw in the first set with the immediate goal right there, but once again, Inner Circle is answering the call right here. That's going to be another goal right there. In less than 30 seconds into the game, we have 2 goals going down. That is crazy stuff so far. 2 minutes on the clock. It's 1-1. We've got quite some time before OT, but Rama's going in. Luki using that hypercharge, actually able to take out Nob. That might be pretty difficult to overcome here. Rama's doing what he can to try to kill the Jaeyoung. He does get away with it. Mebius is going to be clearing the ball out. Both teams are kind of resetting right here, but it's just been such an action-packed, aggressive set so far. We see Nob with the super trying to keep up that aggro.
Ooh, Nob with that super. Oh no, he's going to be able to get the ball. The ball wasn't cleared by both. That is going to give Inner Circle the game and the set. This is unprecedented. Inner Circle up 1-0 in terms of set score against Humble.
That was some poor communication right there, clearing it to nobody, and the fastest brawler on the field, the Shade, able to slime into it. Very, very well played by Nob to take advantage of that opportunity right there. That's the type of lucky break that Inner Circle needs right here. That was one of the most hectic games of Brawl Ball. We didn't even get to see the first goal. That's how quick it went down. So overall, man, both of these teams are out for blood. They're playing so aggressive. That was an amazing set of Brawl Ball. And Inner Circle with a 1-0 lead has Humble, our only undefeated team, on the ropes right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I expect Inner Circle to be inconsistent, right? They do have moments of brilliance and all that, but I feel like those are usually contained within a specific game. The fact that they were able to execute at that level through all 3 games was kind of crazy, and I have to say there are some things that Humble needs to clean up in terms of miscommunication and the team synergy. It just wasn't all the way there together, and I feel like a lot of those jumps by Luki were maybe suspect. Maybe some of them did make a little bit more sense. I'm not sure, but what are your takes on it there?
I think that he was going for the wall breaks more or less. I think that he was trying to kind of counter out Nob's Shade by breaking some of the walls that he's able to just chill in and be invincible basically with the super. So I think in the early game, that's kind of what he was going for. But overall, it does make it a lot harder to cycle supers if you're not connecting on that first initial jump. So a little bit of give and take with the strategy on the Primo right there. I definitely think it could have worked out if they were able to extend that game 3 a little bit longer by not fumbling that clearance. It definitely could have been a different story that we're talking about now. But overall, the Shade and the Hank both kind of played their role very well. The aggression was a little bit too much to handle, and I'm a bit surprised to see the game fall in that direction, but IC took advantage of their opportunities. That's really all you can ask out of them against a beast like Humble.
Yeah, I mean, Humble is just kind of crazy, right? And the fact that IC were able to do that to Humble is low-key insane. Maybe they're going to be able to replicate a little bit more of that success going into the second set. I believe it is going to be Shooting Stars, so this is a more long-range map, and I feel like in terms of the wheelhouse for what we expect from Inner Circle, they like those cagey maps. They like a lot of the maps where you go into the trenches and you have to really get in like with your knuckles and deep. You need to get in deep to actually get those dubs in. So I feel like going from triple dribble to Shooting Star might not be the best option for Inner Circle, but you know, that's something that they have to contend with regardless.
I kind of agree with you on that. Inner Circle, or not Inner Circle, my apologies. Shooting Star is definitely more of a strategy, like control-based mode. Going to be a lot more range, I think, on the board right here. So probably the highest ranged map that we see in the competitive map pool right now. Definitely expecting a little bit more sniper action. Maybe we will see some of the more aggressive options, like Ollie is definitely one that I can think of. I've seen a little bit of Hank on this, but not really expecting a whole lot of that. I think that Gray is going to be another great pick too. So obviously a little bit of aggression could fall into place here, but we have Shooting Star up on the board right now. We have Inner Circle with a 1-0 lead, but our bans are going to be Piper, Jean, Angelo, Nani, Juju, and Melody. So we do see a little bit of aggression banned out with the Melody, but overall, a little bit more range and control is going to be kind of the story of the bans that we're seeing so far. Mandy did not get banned. That's kind of the only sniper besides Bell that I'm seeing here, but we see IC lock in a tick with the first pick. Definitely a pretty solid thrower, great for area control, but overall doesn't really have as much of kill potential as you would kind of want from your first pick right here. I don't hate the tick pick, but I do think that it could be a little bit better maybe, but I guess they did ban the Juju kind of with that in mind.
Indeed. I mean, this makes so much sense to me. It just usually you don't want to go for those early thrower picks, but I feel like the meta has evolved in a certain way that it allows and facilitates for certain picks like this. We do know that Humble likes to play Leon from time to time on this map, but we do have Gray, which is open, so I'm gonna expect Gray to be picked up here, as Gus and Bell are gonna be picked up instead. I feel like Gus can make a lot of sense, especially with the hypercharge that he has recently got, it could be more domineering. I don't think it's certainly it's not a wrong pick here by any means. It's a great pick
Mm.
all around, and Bell also satisfies a lot of the requirements for this map: long range, along with the fact that you can mark people down, the fact that you have those bear traps as well as slow people down if they do go in really aggressively. But in order to actually capitalize on that, they need to get the blue star early on.
I am a bit surprised to see the Bell falling in before the Gray. I feel
Hmm.
like maybe the reason for that is that Humble's scared of a tank and they do not want to get like Gus Gray and then get ran down by like an Ollie perhaps. But Bell does offer a little bit more tank counter ability than most snipers, so I think that's kind of what they're going for. But either way, they do have some pretty decent range. Inner Circle is going to match that kind of with the RT. Once again, another like
Ooh.
range brawler that does fare decently well into tanks. So I guess that they are a little bit fearful of the last pick aggro as well. And then obviously Lumi is still a broken brawler, still going to be able to do a ton of work. And finally, we do see the Gray come into the fold here. A little surprised that they didn't go with a thrower, but I guess with the middle matchup of that Gray versus the Tick's going to have to play pretty passively, knowing that he could get pulled or teleported on at any moment. So I think that these are pretty even comps overall. The Lumi does get outranged a decent amount, but if she's able to play passively with the use of that gadget, she might be able to kind of hang. But overall, I feel like these are pretty even drafts. Not really too sure who's going to come out on top of this, but getting a Gray with the last pick feels like insane value for Humble.
Yeah, I mean, and just in terms of the range disparity, I would give it a Humble, but it comes down to the execution of this. And we're gonna go into game number one off the second set between Humble and Inner Circle, and uncharacteristically, Humble already down in terms of the set score.
Yep, and we're going to see a lot of firepower dedicated to this blue star from the side of Inner Circle. They do not want to let Boss grab it, but he's going to tank a couple of tick mines and get that blue star. So we see our first lead of the game going to the side of Humble. Not really too sure why Nob didn't want to leave his Morning Star on the field right there. Maybe could have been able to catch him lacking, but overall they made the decision that they made. They're going to be on the aggressive right now. Luki does get a Kooky Popper out onto the field, so Lumi's going to have to fall back a little bit. That's Nob manning the Luby right there. See, Luki has his shield ready to go, but no teleport from Boss. Means that they'll probably hold on to their utility until anything happens here.
The Tickhead on the right-hand side gets dispatched almost immediately. Lumi gadget, but Luki finds a kill on a Knob nonetheless, and it's looking great for Humble as they have extended their lead to 3 stars.
Yeah, it looks like Nob overstepped a tiny amount right there, and he's going to pay the price for it. Tried to make a play with the gadget right there, but it ended up biting him in the butt. Either way, Luki is still holding it down in the mid. Boss is doing what he can against the Lumi lane right here. Pretty even as far as the range matchup goes, so not expecting a whole lot of action right there. Luki's going to be pinching over on Nob as well. And we see Mebius and Tick both kind of hanging out behind this indestructible wall right here. Obviously, they're going to have to orchestrate a push, but there's not a single player that IC can take down in order to take the lead right here, considering that Luki has 3 but no blue, and Boss has 2 with the blue.
Yeah, indeed. 2 kills is required here. 20 seconds in the clock as time is winding down. Luki gonna give the shield to Boss. Boss going in onto Nob, finds the kill as well. That's huge. Hypercharge being popped by Luki, and it's looking really great for Humble as Inner Circle in a very bad spot. Kills are gonna be confirmed onto Rama. The next one onto Mebius. Nob is still very much alive, but he's gonna be taken out. It's an 11-star lead for Humble here, going from strength to strength. They finally are on the board here.
Yeah, I know the matchup for the Lumi isn't the greatest, but I do still think that Nob needs to prioritize his life a little bit more here. I mean, they were definitely in a pretty tough position once he went down and made that lead 3 stars. And then from that point on, they kind of had to be a little bit more aggressive, but obviously Nob doesn't really have any solid matchups here, so he's going to have to play pretty passive. I think maybe leaving his stars on the field and kind of waiting for them to step up a little bit too high with the gadget could be his play. But either way, we're going to see Boss going a little more aggro for the blue star here, walking straight over the Lumi gadget. And he's just going to try to get out of the situation, but Nob is taking advantage of that situation, kind of clapping him up in the middle right here, and they're going to see a 4-1 lead for the side of Inner Circle. Nob is definitely stepping up his game in game number 2.
Indeed. And already a really great start for Inner Circle. I feel like Humble really needs to figure out what's wrong here as they get back into this one. Semantic has been a little bit underwhelming on this Bell here, I'll be honest. Usually Luki, the resident Bell here, but with the Gus being meta here, I think that certainly one of the reasons why he's on the Gus here, as there is a 3% star lead for the side of Inner Circle, but if the Lumi goes down, it's basically fair game for Humble here.
Yep, Lumi's definitely the player to watch right here. Nob is going to have to play his life to the highest extent right now. But we see Humble pushing up pretty aggressive here. Boss is onto the tick, which is exactly where he wants to be. He's got to be pretty close to a teleport right here. I think that he should have his walking cane coming back here, and indeed he does. Likely one shot away from super right here, so something to keep your eye on. Mebius is doing all he can to push them back, but Boss has to use his teleport defensively just to escape Nob super right there. And while they are cornered right now, they are still up by 3 stars. As long as Nob stays alive through these last 30 seconds, Humble's got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, certainly. So nice taps coming in from Semantic. He does get Mebius one shot, but nobody really to capitalize on that nice pull coming in from Boss. Finds a kill here, and that lead is going to be cut down to 1 with only 15 seconds left. It's now or never for Humble as they start collapsing on this inner circle side. They go in, hypercharge being popped by Lukey. There is a kill. Boss gets a kill on a Nob. Mebius goes down. There's a ticket coming in, but it is over as Humble are running away with this one and are able to get this win and equalize the set score at 1 apiece against this inner circle side.
That was well played to Boss, man. He held on to those teleports until the last second. He knew that he had enough time to get a kill or 2 back in their spawn right there. He didn't want to over-aggress before that, so very good timing on getting his super at the end of the game. Good timing on you knowing when to go in to be able to escape with his life. I think he could have died at the end there and it still would have been okay, but we kind of just saw full positioning from the side of Humble. They collapsed when they needed to collapse, and that's going to be able to give them the win on our bounty set right here. So we're tied up at 1-1. The aggression from Inner Circle that we saw in set number 1 kind of falls out of the window in set number 2, and we're going to be tied up at 1-1. I'm very curious to see who's going to be able to capitalize in game number 3, but this is going to be a super important set for Inner Circle.
Yeah, and this is another map which I feel like Humble really likes, right? Bell's Rock. It has a lot of long range. It requires a lot of team communication and synergy, but since the map is cagey and has a lot of walls, I feel like it's also a map which Inner Circle can do decently well in. I feel like that it's conducive to a lot of pop-off plays, and I feel like Inner Circle tends to capitalize on those sorts of moments of chaos rather than the sustain which you see from Humble. So it usually comes to a head between these various ideas of how to play this game.
Yeah, definitely going to be another more passive game, which I do think plays into Humble's hands a little bit better. But as far as the comps go, I feel like they're probably going to ban Gray out this time. I don't think that you can put Boss back on that Gray again. Definitely a little bit of a menace, especially on a map like this. He's going to be so annoying. But either way, besides that, I'm trying to think of what else could be pretty valid here. It is, compared to most knockout maps, like you said, it is pretty cagey. So maybe not going to be playing the most ranged options right here. Still haven't seen my girl Mandy make an appearance today, which is quite sad, but it is what it is. I think that Angelo could be another good option. Gus probably could find his way back into the meta again. He does fare a little bit better into some of the more aggressive options since he does have the knockback with his shield. So if a Gray teleports onto him, he's going to be able to survive that a lot longer than most other snipers would. So not surprised to see Gus making his way in here. Piper obviously is always an option. Bell, RT are pretty sturdy as far as earlier picks that you can kind of play into some tankier options. So that's kind of what I'm looking out for here. And then also our aggros like Buster, Ollie, and Hank are probably the other options that I'm looking out for. But looking forward to getting into this draft. Like I said, this does kind of feel like a must win for IC.
Yeah, it is going to be a now or never sort of situation, right, for them. But like, I feel like Great, like you mentioned, it's certainly going to be banned. But I feel like if you have a Great, it makes it more possible for you to run a lot more aggro compositions. I feel like Gus also can do certain things like that. But you would see if either Gus or Gray are brought out, you might see things like Heck coming out. You might see Holly as well. You might even see the Kenji, though it's quite possible that it might not come out because it's harder to get like your hypercharge in competitive play, especially on a mode such as this one. So I wouldn't expect that. But Buster is another brawler that you could possibly have going here for you. A kit as well, just a little bit more of the NA strats in that scenario.
Yeah, we'll see if the kit makes an appearance. It's been a while since we've seen the kitty cat pop out, but definitely could be a map where she could be pretty useful. I think the Buster makes a lot of sense too, considering you're able to charge that super for free with your teammates and then kind of just walk in and block off the entire middle of the map once the smoke starts coming in. So either way, I'm looking forward to see. I feel like there's kind of 2 different ways you can approach this map. You can play either fully at range with like throwers and snipers, or you can try to be a little bit more aggressive with options like Gray, with options like Hank and Ollie that we've talked about. So I think it is going to be kind of the story of the map is going to be who's going to be going more aggressive versus who is going to be playing on the back foot, who's waiting for that smoke to come in, rather trying to get an early pick. So that's what I'm looking forward to, just kind of waiting for this draft to pop up at this point.
Yeah, I think that obviously knockout is one of those modes where it's a lot about the patience, it's a lot about predation, and we're gonna go into our draft here. We have our bands are gonna be Ollie, Kit, Hank, Gray, Jay Young, and Lumi. I feel like a lot of these are expected bans here. We did talk about how centralizing some brawlers such as say Kit and I guess Ollie and Hank could be if brought in with like a support option here. So a lot of the usual suspects are banned out. Gus is very much available. Angelo is as well. We still have Tick, and I think Tick has a very high use rate and a win rate on this map. So wouldn't be surprised to see either team really go for the Tick, and Inner Circle could probably go for that.
Yeah, I believe that Humble's probably going to have the first pick just based off the bans. They did ban out a lot more of the aggressive last pick type of options here, whereas Inner Circle's banning out like Lumi and Gray, which are more first pickable. So I'm expecting Humble to probably grab a little bit of range here. Angelo makes a ton of sense to me, honestly. I mean, with the Pierce, with the range, with the amount of zoning he can do with his super when it gets to the end game, that seems like a very safe and valuable first pick. Inner Circle is going to be going with the Tick, as you correctly predicted, Panda, as well as the RT. So it seems like even with the amount of aggro options banned out, they are still kind of keeping it on the back of their minds right here. Obviously, Buster's kind of the one tank that we discussed that didn't get a ban here, so maybe that's what they're thinking of. But once you get into the end game, that split RT form can be so useful, whereas the Tick is more just for zoning at the beginning of the game and during the middle round. So not too surprised to see this comp coming in from Inner Circle, but not a whole lot of firepower, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm Inner Circle, I would also be worried about a possible pulling option, right? So Gene is still available, despite the fact that Gray was banned out. I feel like Gene could still make some kind of work happen. Okay, I'm gonna say something very controversial. I feel like Lily could work, but you have to be very, very good with how you're playing the Lily on Humble. They go for the
I don't
Kenji,
know about
ooh,
Lily into the
along with the Rico.
RT.
Yeah, I wouldn't go on the
Yeah,
RT, obviously, but yeah.
yeah. I think that the Lily could have worked. Maybe it could work for Inner Circle at this point, considering that the Kenji does come out for Humble. Honestly, I kind of forgot how broken Kenji was. I've been banning him like crazy, but the pros obviously know how to play into him a little bit better. So it is nice to see him making an appearance here. Unlikely to get a hypercharge, but even without a hypercharge or a super, he's still going to be able to apply pressure onto the Tick. The Rico is a pick that we don't see as often nowadays. Used to be pretty meta here, but I don't really love it into the Tick. And then we do see the Gene coming out for the last pick for Inner Circle here. Honestly, man, I'm not going to lie. I do kind of like IC's comp a little bit better just because of that Rico. We're going to see if the Rico is able to make any crazy pop-off plays, if the Kenji is going to be able to make any crazy pop-off plays. But overall, I think a lot of the weight of this game is going to rest on Angelo's shoulders for Humble.
Yeah, for sure. And I like this. I like this composition from Inner Circle. I feel like they have a lot of their bases covered, and I feel like Humble need to be careful about how they play this one. Yes, they have the Kenji, but it could be a double-edged sword, quite literally.
Yep, and we're seeing the game get started right here. Boss is obviously going to be in that middle lane, but they're applying a ton of pressure so far. Lukey is going to miss his Pierce, but Semantic's getting heavy fire right now, barely able to get out of that. Mebius doing some great job laying down some defense there. Boss is in a really bad spot, though, and he does go down to the Rama's tick head right there. Mebius is split up, so still could be anybody's game, but Semantic is on the back foot right here. Lukey's doing what he can to kind of hold positioning here, but likely going to be taken out. Wow!
What?
How was Humble able to turn the tables there, Panda? What did I miss?
World champions. That's the only explanation. How were they able to... How are they able to clutch that up? I feel like the only person who clutches even more than that is Fade, and that's kind of crazy. That's unexpected. That was insane coming in from Humble. And once more, Semantic going in for the jump here. Gets taken out, though, by Mebius. Nice super from Mebius, but he's sitting duck in this scenario here as he gets a super. He's almost able to get Mebius. Can he find it? He does get the better of Mebius. Has a super as well, but a pull from Nob gets Lukey down, and that is looking really bad for the side of Humble, as Boss is going to go up in a 1v2 against unlikely odds.
It's never over till it's over. I mean, after the last set, I definitely don't know exactly what's going on here, but Boss is going to be very, very weak right here. Curious if he uses his super, if he saves it for round number 3 right now. Probably just trying to avoid feeding Nob any super, but he goes for it. Not going to be able to capitalize too much. I mean, he got a good amount of value off of that, but
Oh!
Nob's going to be able to bide his time and survive. How did he get that kill? And now we see Boss in a 1v1 against Rama with the smoke coming in. It's going to be difficult to get
No,
through these tick
no!
mines. He pops the hypercharge though, using all of his utility, putting it
Oh,
all out on the line. But Rama plays calm, cool, and collected, able to zone him out there. What an electric game of knockout we've seen so far, Panda. Holy.
that was crazy. I thought Boss almost had it. He kind of was cooking. Hypercharge, though, is available for the tick, and that's going to make it very hard for Kenji to be as aggro, because that's going to be saved for specifically the Kenji, right?
Yep, and we do see Boss misses Rico Super there too, so things aren't looking the greatest for the side of Humble right now, especially considering Nob does have that pull online. It's going to make it more or less impossible for Boss to play as aggressive as he's been playing so far, so we see Humble backing off a fair amount. It's going to be on Lukey to try to get some of these early taps right here, but the smoke should be coming in the next 10 seconds, so looking forward to see how this end game goes. We see both teams with a ton of utility. I think Boss and Semantic are the only ones without their super. Right now the pull connects though. That was definitely an overstep right there. Lukey's doing what he can to try and take advantage, though.
Ooh, now it's going to be 1v2 for Lukey here. He's going to be next on the docket. Can he find something here? It's not looking that likely, but it's possible. He is one of the best snipers in the world, but I might be selling IC short here, as they are able to get the dub here and get the first win in this set here. And I have to say, it is just heartbreak for Boss specifically. He had a way where he might be able to win everything for his team in that one game, and he let that go because of, I don't know what. He used his gadget, he used his super, he used his hypercharge, he used everything that he had in his arsenal, and they regretted it in that last round, Humble. I feel so bad for Boss.
I do think it probably would have did him justice to hold on to that hypercharge, wait till he gets a super in round 3, but either way, I respect him going for it. I mean, it would have been a crazy clip either way. A little bit of clip farming on the biggest stages right here, but we're getting into game number 2 right here. Inner Circle in the lead, but Lukey is going way too aggressive right here, and he's going to pay the price for it, but his teammates are able to trade out Nob, and that's going to be a big kill to get. He's not going to be able to get any more of that super for the later rounds, and Semantic kind of has a decent matchup here. He's going to be trying to move up right here, get a super going. He gets knocked back and is somehow still alive. Mebius needs to hit this shot. He's not able to. And Boss is going to be left in a rematch of the 1v1 that we were so excited about last time. Who comes out on top this time, Panda?
I don't know. It looks like you do have that super there coming in. Ooh, Rama almost got the better Boss here. Hypercharge pop by Rama this time around. Rama gets taken down 6 feet under. Boss able to come out on top finally.
And we see a little bit of the opposite of last game with the tick pop in the hypercharge a bit too early and wasting it. So a little bit of role reversal here, but Semantic is going to be using his Kenji to try and open up some positioning for Boss and Lukey to move up right here. Rama's doing a good job zoning him out, but there's only so much he can do for now. Mebius is going to be trying to defend his tick right here, but he's going to be one shot, and that is going to be a 1v3 for Rama. He is going to go down, and that is a quick reply from Humble right there. They're going to be tying it up at 1-1. This is a huge game number 3. Who's going to be able to take the set lead?
I don't know, but this is very, very important. Like I said, it's down to parity. It's one apiece here. So this is a very important game here. And we honestly said that this was going to be a better map for Humble, but Inner Circle, like I said, the caginess of the map, the aggressiveness, and the pop-off abilities which are required really lend themselves into the skill set that Inner Circle bring to the table.
Yeah, Mebius is doing a good job tapping right here, clearing out a bunch of space. Semantic took a lot of damage for not a whole lot of reward right there. So he's going to be playing a little bit more passive for now. Boss is hogging this middle lane, trying to get some shots onto the tick, but he's going to fall pretty weak again. Lukey's going for the pier shot, not going to be able to connect, but Nob is doing a good job holding it down. We didn't see any gene pulls the entirety of the last game, so definitely going to be on Nob to try to get a super connection this time around. Going over to Semantic to try to feed for the time being, but Semantic is moving up. He does get pulled, and he's getting a lot of healing from his main attack. He uses the super as well. Somehow still alive after all of that. Is he going to be able to take out Rama? He is. That's going to be a fair trade out there. We see RT and Gene versus Angelo and Rico, but Nob is in a bad spot with another pull. It's going to be missed, though. Still, though, Inner Circle's on top.
It's still, once again, Boss against the other team here. Boss is trying. He gets a super. He's able to get the kill on Mebius, and now it's going to be Nob versus Boss. Surely Boss gets this dub here and gives his team the win, and they get the first round win. Such an important victory for Humble there, and Boss is able to clutch that one out.
That was a textbook 2v1 on the Rico right there. That's exactly how you play Rico on this map. Not the easiest brawler to pull off, but if you're good on him, you can be great on him. And that's what Boss is showing us here. But we're getting into round number 2. Semantic pushing up on the right side into Nob and Rama, taking a lot
Ooh.
of damage. He's going to have to get out of that bad situation for now. Lukey versus the RT on the left side of the map does seem to be a stalemate as of right now. But we see Boss has a super online. We see Rama with a hypercharge online. Nob is probably going to be pretty far away, but actually, never mind. He gets his pull, but Semantic is going to use that to his advantage, and it's going to be another 2v2 right here. The same thing we saw last time where Boss was able to come out on top.
Indeed, I feel like the win condition here for Icy is if Nob gets his hypercharge and he gets his super, he tries to make some connections. Lukey is going to go down. Now it's going to be up to Boss once more. Boss is not able to find the kill. He gets taken out, and that is going to be tied at around a piece for both Humble and Inner Circle.
That shield star power for RT came in so clutch at the end right there. Mebius played that fantastically well, but he almost went down, leaving his team in a 1v1. Lukey's going crazy with the hypercharge. Almost got tapped by Mebius there. That would have been devastating for them. But both teams are kind of chilling for now. Semantic pushing up the left side. We see Nob is going to fall weak, and he's actually going to die to that full Bax power arrow from Lukey. Fantastic snipe from Lukey, and that puts Humble in a great position to be able to take this right here. But Semantic's going to be on the back foot now.
Ooh, Semantic able to take out that take head from contention. Mebius is still very much alive. Big super beam by Boss. Finds a kill. Boss definitely the MVP of this set here. And that is going to be a win for Humble. Beautiful stuff coming in from Humble. Oh, beautiful stuff coming from Icy as well. But I got to say, Boss deserved that star player. He just had so many games where he had to go and get those solo dubs in against multiple opponents, and he was able to execute at the highest level to do so. So congratulations to Humble for taking that, and they forced themselves into a 2-1 set score against Inner Circle.
That definitely could have gone either way, but definitely a well-deserved MVP of the set has to go to Boss right there. Not the easiest brawler to pull off on that map, like I said, but he pulled off the Rico to its highest extent. He elevated that brawler to the most that you're going to be able to get out of him. So very well played to Humble. It's got to feel good to be able to walk out on top of that very hectic set with a win right there. And now they're back in the driver's seat, up 2-1 as we move into our set 4. Humble's going to be trying to lock it out, secure their spot at number 1 with a 6-0 record. But it looks like we're going to be going into Dueling Beetles for set number 4. Another pretty hectic map, maybe playing into IC's favor a little bit. But overall, it's just going to be anybody's game right here. I feel like Inner Circle's been able to hang in all the sets that they've lost. So I feel like it's not out of the water yet for Humble, but it definitely does feel good to be up 2-1 rather than down 1-2.
Yeah, for sure. I get what you mean there. And honestly, like, we're going to go into Dueling Beetles here. And I feel like, again, this map once more is something that requires a lot of communication and synergy. But again, there are enough walls and enough like hazards in the map which make it interesting for Inner Circle, right? I feel like in these maps where you could have these pop-off plays are the ones where Inner Circle is able to bamboozle opponents where they normally wouldn't be able to compete against. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one does play out. I feel like it's going to be a close set. I say this and it could be a complete blowout, but you know, I'm hoping for a close set.
I'm hoping for some aggression here. I feel like kind of like what we saw in that triple dribble set, a lot of those same brawlers are going to be pretty meta here. Like Shade could definitely find his way in. Hank could definitely find his way in. Ollie, Buster are both great options here. And I think besides that, like Jae Young is another brawler where if he doesn't get banned, I'm curious to see how he plays on this map. Haven't seen the most Jae Young gameplay yet, but I'm definitely excited that we've got to see him a good amount today. So could be another good brawler there. Gray is another great option as well. Getting those teleporters into the middle of the map can be so useful if you have tanks on your team. So a lot of good options here. I feel like Hot Zone is such an electric game mode for it to come down to at this point. I feel like we could definitely get some pretty electric finishes here. A lot of tanks, a lot of healers, a lot of speed. I have no idea what to expect out of this draft realistically.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going to be going down, obviously, but I feel like Gray might be an option here. I feel like both the teams might opt for something like that. We have Barley being put up a lot, but it doesn't have the best win rate, but it's still a pretty good control brawler as well. Draco and Hank are also great tankier options, but there are certain things to consider. Like a Finks is great for a map like this where you can put down your super in the mid, and it's just hard to compete against the team which is running Finks, and that you have the Griff. We have had hypercharges as well. Oh, the Griff is going to be banned. Never mind. We do have our bans, so they're going to be Jae Young, Lumi, Kenji, Barley, Griff, and Byron. So scratch everything that we are talking about, Chad.
I am a little disappointed. We're still not going to get to see the Griff Hypercharge in action, but Amber is still in play, so could see a little bit of Amber Hypercharge action here. I definitely think the Jaeyong ban makes a lot of sense right here. Not too sure which team has the first pick. Kind of expecting it to be Inner Circle, considering the Lumi, Kenji, and Jaeyong bans. It looks like I am correct right there. They're going to be going with the B here. Not necessarily the most open map in the world, so you do tend to see B playing lane more often than mid on this map, but with that shield star power, she can be tankier than people give her credit for. I do think it's a solid option, but overall, I think I would have personally went for the Gray over the B.
Yeah, I mirror that sentiment. I feel like Gray gives you a lot more options, right? Utility. You're able to get the pulls, you're able to get your portals on the zone, and I think that the Gray, along with the Gray portals, along with the Hank, are is probably one of the best synergies to exist in the game, other than maybe like Max Gene. So, on a map like this, I think that Humble already have a great nucleus in their composition. Inner Circle have their next two picks here, but they have to have something which can respond to this Hank.
Yeah, it's definitely a really scary combination. Hank's able to use that teleporter with a bubble charged up, and he doesn't have to reset it once he exits the other side. So you can definitely get caught off guard by the Gray Hank combination. Could be pretty diabolical for the side of Humble. I really like this comp so far. The Barry makes a ton of sense here. He does do so much healing, and pairing him up with a tank, none other than the tank actually, with the Frank right there. So it makes a lot of sense there. I think that Frank is a pretty solid counter into the Hank right there. He's going to be able to do a good amount of wall breaking as well, which could make the Hank a little bit less useful. But it kind of goes both ways there, because the Barry's going to be less useful with wall breaks. Obviously, it does benefit the B there too. So a little bit of give and take with the comp here from Inner Circle. I do like what they're cooking, but we see Humble is going to finish up the draft with the Lu. Definitely a hard counter to the Frank right there. That hypercharge is going to be so menacing. Curious to see if we're going to see the Frank with the anti-stun gadget rather than the pull gadget here. I feel like that definitely could be pretty useful to counter the Lu. So, I mean, I think that we do have some pretty even comps here. If I had to give the edge to anybody, I would say Humble, just because I love the Gray Hank strategy. But what do you think, Panda?
I like this Great Hank strategy. I think the Luke can make a lot of sense, obviously, to make sure that Frank isn't all that great. But I feel like once you get the portals down, it's going to be much harder for Inner Circle to really compete here. Frank needs to break open the walls post-haste, because without the wall breaks, it's not going to be as useful for B. I feel like B is basically the linchpin around which this composition is going to work, because all the other brawlers are running interference for the B. So we go into our first game in this fourth set here. Kills onto boss have been confirmed, and we just see a very, very close game, but with control on the side of Humble.
Yeah, the start of this game is so important on a map like this, and we see Nob taking advantage of that first interaction against the Hank. The Frank v Hank is going to be a banger matchup this entire time. Great pull by Lukey to secure that for his teammate, and Rama goes in a little bit prematurely. That's going to allow for a full team wipe on the side of Humble right there. They're establishing their dominance over the zone here. Nob's moving up with what he can. Curious to see if he goes for a wall break here, with Semantic kind of stepping up a little high. That's exactly what happens here.
Wow.
And it does confirm that he is running the pull gadget rather than the anti-stun. Still not able to take advantage there. But Inner Circle does have full control over the zone right here. Semantic's in a weird spot as he tries to get back and regroup with his teammates, and he is most likely going to be paying the price right there. So we see Gray, we see Lukey on the Lu right here, but the stun is not going to connect. He teleports out of there. A lot of damage going down here, but Inner Circle looks good.
Yeah, I don't exactly like the placement of the portal for Lukey here, but he finally has a hyper portal, and that's going to be good for them, as Mebius pops his own hyper charge, gets a kill on Semantic, and Rama getting his own against Boss, and all of those ice cream portals are on the map here. Semantic using the portal to get onto the mid once more. It's a pretty even game, and kills coming around in a flurry for Inner Circle, as the Nob once more going up very aggressively with his hyper charge just to make a little bit more space known. Semantic getting taken out, but so does the other person there. Maybe it's going to go down. Lukey and Boss very much alive with a small way forward for them. They are down by 10%, but that's going to slowly but surely make them catch up.
Yep, this is about to be a very electric finish. I mean, both teams are at 90% right here. Nob misses the super, and that might do it. Semantic's able to come out on top of that interaction. We see it looks like Humble's going to barely come out on top of that. Crazy finish right there. But the Frank missing super was a little bit too much to overcome for the side of Inner Circle. I definitely don't think this game is over by any stretch of the word,
Hmm.
but Humble does have match point right here, so they just got to do that one more time. But I do think that there's a little bit more potential for Nob to
Indeed.
maybe be able to play that a little bit better in the next game. If he comes out on top of some of those interactions, I could definitely see this go in the way of Inner Circle. Very close match as we get into match number 2, and it is match point for Humble.
Indeed, once more, Nob getting the better of Semantic. Last time we actually saw Nob and Rama getting taken out in quick succession along with Mevius, which allowed for Humble to get that dub. But if you look at the scoreline, it was very, very close. So this time around, though, it's not mirroring how it happened last time. As Inner Circle going from strength to strength, they have a 30% lead here.
Nob played the beginning of that game so well, and Rama was assisting him like an absolute goat right there. But those two synergies are just playing out so well so far. Nob goes for a predictive super, and Semantic does end up baiting it out. With that
Ooh.
Hank Hypercharge too, he's going to cycle so much damage in here. Mevius gets stunned as well, so Semantic is going to be able to stay alive throughout all of that. While they are down by about 40% right now, they are going to be able to make a little bit of a stand here. Semantic's going to be able to teleport back to safety, but Boss with the Lu Hypercharge going to be trying to bully the B out here. And so far, B has not really been able to have too much of an impact on this game so far, but teleporting out of the Frank Hypercharge, Lukey's getting all the damage he can, but Inner Circle just needs to keep on inching this zone up second by second.
Ooh, big gash being popped by Nob. He gets a double kill. The third to fall is Semantic. That's going to increase the lead even more for Inner Circle as they extend it to almost 40% here.
It is going to be tough for them to hold on to this lead considering the portals that Humble has set up at this point in time. And it looks like that's exactly going to be what's going to get them a little bit more control over the zone right here. Semantic getting his bubble ready. And Inner Circle's got to make this push very, very well and coordinated as a team. Nob goes in with the hypercharge. He does get frozen though, and he's going to go down without even getting a super out. That's going to be devastating. We see Humble remains on control of the zone right here as they tie it up. Inner Circle has to make a push right now, Panda.
No way, Nob. Oh no, he gets stunned in the last moment, and that is going to be Humble taking it back from Inner Circle. I guess winning in the claws, in the jaws of defeat. Humble take it 3-1 against Inner Circle here with a masterclass in this last 30 seconds.
That was always going to be a tough one to finish out. I mean, both teams just kind of wanted to stand on the zone with all that HP and heals that they had, but overall, Humble was able to make the comeback in the last game, and they're going to win 3-1. Overall, though, I was impressed from what we saw from Inner Circle today. They definitely did not get bullied. They did not get pushed over at all. They made all of these sets super competitive against one of the best teams that we've seen here. So overall, Humble definitely did a good job. They deserved the win, but I'm impressed with what I saw from Inner Circle. I would definitely like to see them make a push for that 4 seed, but it's going to be a little bit tough as they fall to 2 and 4 throughout our first 6 days.
Yeah, congratulations to Humble here. They're going to be happy with that result. They still maintain their undefeated streak here in the competition, and that's exactly what they want, obviously, right? You don't want to take any losses, and you want to be above SK in terms of the leaderboard here. But congratulations to Humble, 3-1. They extend their lead. Inner Circle not going to be happy about that loss, but a team that is going to be happy about that is going to be Team Heretics, and they're going to be up next. It's going to be Reverso versus Team Heretics, but here we have on your screen free gems, so make sure you use the QR code. If you haven't managed to win earlier, you might be able to win it now. So do that, and we'll be back in 3 minutes for Reverso versus Team Heritage. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OWN Masters Valencia. It is the league phase. We are on match day number 6 with our 4th match of the day. We finished 3 of them. First up was Reply Totem Eclipsar, which went the way of Reply Totem 3-1. Then we had SK Gaming versus Ping Abusers, where it was a sweep, a clean one, for SK Gaming 3-0. And then we had Humble versus Inner Circle, which was very, very close. And despite the 3-1 line for Humble, I would say that the scoreline isn't indicative of how close the matches actually were. Now, though, we're going to go into our last match of the day, which is going to be Reverso versus Team Heretics. I'm your host, Petacast, joined by the amazing Duncan Brawl Stars. And if you haven't already subscribed to Duncan Brawl Stars, my question to you is, why? Why haven't you subscribed to him? What are you doing with your life? Anyway, how are you doing today, Duncan?
I'm doing great, man. We've had 3 pretty good games so far. Definitely none more exciting than Humble versus Inner Circle, though. Very happy Inner Circle put on a fantastic show for us. Even though they didn't walk away with the W, they can definitely be pretty happy about that. But you know who else is going to be happy about that? Team Heretics. They have seen all 3 of the teams that they're tied with take L's today, so they are in the driver's seat, especially against our worst performing team throughout our first 5 days of league play, Reverso. So Team Heretics is in the driver's seat right here to be able to slide into that 4th seed right here. I mean, the red carpet is rolled out. The question is, can they capitalize? Are they going to be able to walk down it? And I think that this is going to be a pretty big question for them. They haven't been the best performing team so far, but if they aren't able to pull this out today, they're definitely going to have some serious questions. But on the other hand, if they do perform today, if they put up a dominant performance, they're going to be in a great spot as we get into set number 1.
Indeed, we have our bands. They're going to be Lumi, Kenji, Melody, Jackie, Shade, and the Hank. First pick going to be for Team Heretics. They go for the Chester. I believe they're playing the same map that we just had. I thought it might be bridge too far, but I guess we are back on triple dribble.
Okay, yeah, so same map pool going to be recycled here, but we do see the first pick of the draft for Team Heretics coming out. It's going to be a Chester, so definitely one of the most dominant tank counters in the game. We haven't seen him picked at all yet today. He's been banned out a decent amount, though, so still a really good brawler. Obviously, it's been harder to get his hypercharge, but the hypercharge in and of itself is still very, very broken. It can definitely result in more or less of a free goal in Brawl Ball, so pretty solid option here, especially considering the amount of aggression that I'm expecting to see come down on the side of Reverso here. But a lot of the more aggro brawlers, Jackie, Shade, Hank, and Kenji specifically, have been banned out. So curious to see what other tanks they grab. They don't necessarily go for a tank, but kind of a hybrid brawler with the Carl, and then pairing that with the speed support that Max offers. Pretty solid 2-3 from Reverso. I'm a little bit confused about the Max considering Jae Young is available, but maybe they know something I don't. They've got a decent enough comp cooked up so far, though, but I think Heretic should be able to answer.
Indeed, I feel like Jae Young might be brought out for Team Heretics, but just talking a little bit about this matchup here, right? After the end of the first split of the BSC, Reverso has said goodbye to their roster. So while these people are playing together as a team, they are not a part of Reverso Gaming. So that is unfortunate for them. But if you're in the market for a talented EMEA roster, this might be a golden opportunity for you. So make sure you pick up Reverso Gaming if you're looking for a roster in EMEA. This ensemble is really good. Both these teams, though, are in moments of upheaval with a lot of uncertainty. That's not to mention that they're both at the bottom of the leaderboards here, with the Reverso's chances evaporating in the previous match day. Now, honestly, Team Heretics has their red carpet laid out for them here, so a win here would make a real difference to the standings for them as they go for both the Ollie and even the Juju.
Yeah, definitely Heretics have a little bit more to play for today, but Reverso is playing for their pride, so definitely don't think that they're going to roll over and let it happen. But either way, we got the Ollie and the Juju. Reverso is going to take the Barley, which I do think is a pretty solid thrower to counter the Juju at. I think that the Barley's damage and zoning that he has with that super is going to be pretty important, so I feel like I like both of these comps right here, but as far as goal scoring goes, I do think that Heretics has the advantage. There's not really a brawler who's able to get a free goal on the side of Reverso. I mean, maybe a Max with a well-timed dash play could, but Ollie's definitely going to have the easiest path to scoring goals here. So I do like the comp of Heretics a little bit better. Also, the Chester Hypercharge is definitely what I have my eye on, but we're getting into game number 1. Starting from the very top right here, we've got Reverso in blue against Heretics in red. We're going to see that Carl gadget from Nez make a good connection right there. It's going to take out Chaos. That's going to be our first blood of the game. And then it looks like Lenon is going to be pretty weak as well. So that's going to be great positioning for the side of Reverso. Are they able to capitalize here?
Maybe. Nez is trying to get something going here on this right-hand side. Not able to do so. Gets his fire off, but doesn't mark it onto anybody here. Certainly going to be taken out here, as I believe that might be Gas. Gas is on the max, and he's just moving up on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I think it's probably Gas as well. Can't know for sure, but Lenane's using his super. He's going up here. He's trying to force the goal, but he's going to be converged on by all three members of Reverse, so they're going to be in a tough spot. And now they're finally pushing up right here. The Barley super gets a lot of zoning down, as well as immediately eliminating Rup's Grigri, so that's going to be pretty important. We see Lena using the Speed Star power to make himself a little bit more maneuverable on this situation right here. Nez is trying to hold down the lane, but it looks like Lenane's going to be pushing up a little bit. Gas is trying to land some of those shots on. The Barley gadget comes through, but so far, both teams kind of just chilling here. The stun connects, but not really going to be able to capitalize as the Max Hyper goes live.
Yeah, it's true. Ooh, big super coming in from Nez. He gets killed on Lena. Chaos next to fall, and that is goal number 1 for Reverso.
That was well played by Reverso. Not really too sure how they were able to turn the tides that quickly, but Team Heretics is going to have to play a little bit better than that if they want to survive this. Chaos has a super lined up right here, and it looks like he is able to connect the Mist onto the Barley, who is able to somehow survive with that star power that heals him up every shot. But Reverso has, my apologies, Team Heretics has full positioning right here. That ball is going to be slotted up to iChaos, who is going to tie it up right here. A little bit confused by the name right there for but it's all good. We are tied up at 1-1. Lenon's going in on Nez, and that should secure a kill with the help of Rup's Juju. Chaos has good positioning as well, and Heretics has them on the back foot, but it looks like they're going to have to fall back for the time.
Indeed. I feel like Rup has been such a good addition for Team Heretics. A little bit more of some... I guess right now, with the uncertainty that Team Heretics have at their roster, they need a little bit more of sustain and sustenance, and that's exactly what he does here. Rup going in with the gadget, not able to do... get the kill there, not able to get the goal there, sorry. With 9 seconds left, we're going to go into overtime here, as I Hate Ranked, I believe is Enraged, actually, is going to be on the right-hand side. Gets the super off, not able to get it onto Andy here. He's going to be contending against Chaos on the right-hand side, and I feel like Chaos, especially with the Chester, is a really hard mark to go up against.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely looking for Enraged to get a max speed to kind of get them out of the situation, but Lenana's full positioning, probably going to be able to take out Andy, but Andy somehow survives. Nez clears out a ton of space, even though he does trade out. Definitely still worth it in order to not get scored on right there. Rup does get tickled down by Enraged as well, so Chaos is going to be trying to pick up the slack on defense right here. Andy falls quite weak. Lenan has super online ready to go as well. So it could still be anybody's game with 20 seconds left on the clock. Neither team in a great spot right here, but that's going to be another trade out here. Neither team can really seem to get away with a kill for free, but Nez is going to be doing a ton of work, and now it's an open goal for Enraged. Ooh. Very well played to Reverso to be able to take game number 1 there. A little bit of back and forth, a lot of trading out. Nobody really had too many free goals right there, but well played. Reverso is going to take a surprise game number 1 victory.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that to go the way it did go, but, you know, I think Reverso are going to be happy with how that one played out. I think the Heretics need to obviously clean up their play a little bit more. There was a little bit of a desperation play by Rup trying to get that goal before overtime, but it didn't work out. We're going to go into game number 2 here. Heretics took the first one, and sorry, Reverso took the first one, and let's see how this one plays out.
Yep, Nez is moving up on the right side, trying to get a little bit of positioning, but Lenan using that speed to his advantage, just kind of dancing around, avoiding these shots, attracting so much attention. He's going to be moving up now, but the Barley gadget as well as the Carl gadget's going to provide a good amount of defense there. Rup's doing what he can with the shield, but he's trying to force this thrower v thrower matchup, which I do think Andy has a little bit of an advantage into, but Lenan's going up with the super, not going to connect. Nez might be able to finish off this kill, but he's actually going to get some help from Chaos to be able to push them back. Both teams kind of moving up here, and Rage trying to get that max super to force a goal here, Panda.
Indeed, and he gets taken out by Lena. Lena going in for a desperation play, gets taken out himself. Not sure what the play was, what the game plan was in that scenario.
Yeah, not really too sure what's going on there, but Nez has been connecting these Carl fires like it's nobody's business. He's doing a ton of work here, maybe a little bit forced up there, but he does get the pass off to Enraged. But Lenan is going to be able to step up and defend, and that's going to be a goal opportunity a little bit squandered, in my opinion, from the side of Reverso. A little bit questionable right there, but either way, Chaos is moving back in. Lenan has super. looking maybe for a seam to try and slide up there. But overall, I mean, Heretics has not really had any great goal scoring opportunities. They're going to be cornering it with this max speed coming in too.
That was a huge misplay coming in from reverse. So I feel like that might be something that might haunt them. But no, speed coming in. We have Enrage going to go pass the ball to Andi. Nope. He's just going to go for the goal himself here. Not sure what Enrage is doing, buddy. Buddy? Okay.
I guess potentially stalling, but I mean, that's a risk with the Ollie. He could gadget you and take the ball out of your hands. A little bit questionable there, but I mean, these are the pros, man. I'll let them cook. Either way, we are queuing it back up. Reverso is in the lead with a game lead already, so things don't look great for Heretics right now. Lenon needs to make a play here. He's going in. He's going to hypnotize Nez, but not really going to be able to secure the kill. With the help of Chaos, they do secure the kill. Rupp is walking up here, trying to get the pass off to Chaos. The stun's a little bit late, though, and Enraged is able to make an insane stand on defense. Still not out of the woods yet, though, with 10 seconds left. Lenon is getting milked down by the Barley Super. He's the last man standing. This is going to be a tough one to score.
Indeed, he's going for it. He goes for the goal here. He finds a kill, not able to do so. Ball cleared by Nez, and that is game for Reverso. First set in very quick succession by Reverso Gaming against Team Heretics.
Maybe Enraged is playing a little bit of mind games, trolling him in front of the goal. I don't even know what other explanation there could be, but maybe Enraged is in their head. That's going to be a very big win for Reverso, though. A little bit unexpected there. I mean, they've been through a lot in this past month, but either way, they take a 1-0 lead against Team Heretics. This is going to be our, if Reverso is able to win this, that's going to be all 4 of our 2 and 3 teams, but all losing today. And we would kind of be in the same situation that we started today. And so a little bit crazy, honestly, expecting a bit more from Heretics. Hopefully they can get their act together going into game number 2. But either way, man, very well played to Reverso. They were able to make a stand, prove that they're still here to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking that good for Heretics, right? I felt like they were supposed to be a team which is like kind of like forming into a more cohesive unit, and it just didn't seem like that was the case at all. I felt like Reverso, in fact, were the more cohesive unit. There were some moments of pop-off plays, but I felt like Reverso really had the card against Team Heretics. Maybe on Shooting Star, it might end up being slightly different, might favor Team Heretics, but I feel like the red carpet has been laid out by all the other teams for Team Heretics, and I think that right now it's just up to Team Heretics to actually just say seize the day, you know, carpe diem. They need to seize this opportunity. They're not going to get, I don't think any other team is going to get this sort of opportunity ever. Like, who rolls out the red carpet for you? And you know, you can't squander this opportunity if you're Team Heretics going into the second set.
Yeah. All 3 of the teams they needed to lose lost, and they get a matchup against the only winless team, but still they find themselves in a 1-0 hole. Not looking the best for them, but I mean, they still have a chance. It's definitely not over till it's over. We have Bounty coming up here with Shooting Star, so Heretics is going to have to clean up their draft, clean up their gameplay, but we see the map on the board here, and it looks like our bans are going to be Max, Jae Young, and Nani from the side of Reverso. Heretics banning out Angelo, Nani, and Piper. So a lot of snipers out of the picture, and both speed brawlers that Reverso is banning out. So, and the strategy I haven't really seen on Shooting Star, banning out Jae Young and Max. Curious what they're going for. Maybe they want to play the range game and don't want to have a bunch of sped up opponents on the other team that they have to juke. But either way, they go with the Gus first pick. Pretty solid option. He doesn't do that bad into aggro compared to most snipers. So I think that's kind of the mindset that they're going with there. Plus, he has the new hypercharge that can be impactful, even if not for the hypercharge super, just for the stat boost. So I like the Gus pick. Makes a lot of sense to me, especially with Nani and Piper and Angela out of the picture. Still kind of holding out hope that we might see a Mandy at some point, but if Heretics doesn't take it here, then I think I'm going to have to give up my hope for the day on seeing a Mandy. Not too sure what other snipers are still in play. I think Bell could be pretty solid. RT could be pretty solid. What do you think they're going to go with here, Panda?
Dude, your guess is as good as mine, but they go for Gene and RT. So thank you, Team Heretics, for answering that question. I appreciate it. We still have Gray on the other side, though. I feel like Reverso wouldn't be wrong with going for Gray here. Obviously, Jae Young has been banned out, but Max is probably something that Team Heretics is probably going to be looking for as their last pick. So in order to deny that debilitating synergy, you might just see Reverso going for the speed here. We don't have any throwers being brought out. There's another option here. Reverso could go for Gray along with a thrower of their own, but I feel like against the Gene, not the best decision making here.
Yeah, actually, Max is banned as well from Reverso. They banned out the Max and the Jae Young. They don't want any type of speed going down here, but Like you said, I think that Gray is probably an option that we're likely to see here. I think that Bell could be quite good as well. Kind of counters out those Gene Magic puffs, but we do see the Gray, and then finally, thank the heavens, we see a Mandy fall into the play here. So very excited about that. Gonna be pretty tough to line up those Mandy supers against pro competition, but I mean, if you are able to hit one, it can be such a big hitter, especially against a brawler like Tick. So a little confused to see the Tick coming out here. I feel like Tick is a little bit weak into Mandy and Gray, so not my favorite draft to finish up. But overall, I think that I do like the comp of Reverso. Heretics, I think, is going to have to play well. They're going to have to hit a gene pull if they want to win this. I'm intrigued to see who's going to be going for that blue star pretty heavily, because it's probably going to be Tick versus Gray in the middle. Whoever walks away with that blue star is going to be starting in a great spot, though.
Yeah, indeed, and I'm happy for you. You got your Mandy pick. Hopefully, we get to see the Mandy cook. We saw Luki cook with a Mandy with hypercharge sometimes, so would be nice to see it panning out this time here as we go into our second set between Reverso and Team Heretics, and already Reverso getting taken. I mean, sorry. Team Heretics getting taken out here. They get the blue star, but the kill is going to transfer that blue star to Nez.
Yeah, Rep kind of got clapped up pretty easily right there, but Nez does end up missing the super, kind of wasting all of the damage that he got off of Rep. Obviously, being up 2-1 is pretty important, but would have loved to connect that super just to get the cycling going a little bit more. Obviously, that Mandy hypercharge is so oppressive if you're able to get it, but it's not the easiest one to get in the world. But Lenane's using his Vengeful Spirits to push up pretty aggressive right now. iKaos is going to be trying to pinch out Andi in this corner, but Andi does a good job by stalling and buying his time. They're going to be able to get away with that. Enraged, barely able to take out that Tick head in time. Nez already has another Mandy super. Curious to see if he's going to line this up earlier, if he's going to try and save it for an opportune moment now.
Indeed, big gadget being popped by Lana. Gets Enraged pretty low. Enraged still pretty low, going for the pull. To be able to find the kill, he does with the help of his teammate. You're very low, still managing to survive as they get the kill on a Chaos as well, extending their lead by 5 stars.
Yeah, the teleport there is going to somehow work out. Wow, crazy work, but Chaos is able to clean it up. Either way, things are still looking really good for Reverso right now. They're up 4 stars. They have the blue star, and it's just going to be protect the president with Nez being the president right now. President Mandy cannot go down with those 4 stars. Anybody else is okay, but Enraged is taking a lot of damage here. Kind of went down without too much of a fight right there. Not what you love to see if you're a Reverso fan right now. But the shield is going to go in on the Gray right there. Going to be a good synergy combination. Able to take out Lana quite easily. Now with 15 seconds left, we are going to see Reverso trying to hold the line here. Another great pull though. Nez with the hypercharge doesn't connect, but it shouldn't really matter a whole lot. As long as Nez doesn't get pulled and die here, it's going to be over. And that's going to be all she wrote right there. The Mandy pick coming in clutch. I'm telling you guys, she's good if you're good on her. I promise you. And Reverso is learning that. They're very happy to see Mandy come out on top there. But that's going to be a great win from Reverso. They're up 1-0 after already being up a set.
This is one of the moments of all time, right? Mandy is great if you're great with Mandy. We're gonna go.
I'll stand on that. I'll stand on that.
We're gonna go to game number 2. Let's see if this one favors Team Heretics, because right now they're kind of getting swept by Reverso Gaming, and the blue star hasn't been collected here as we go into our second game of the second set.
Yep, and it looks like the blue star is going to be going into the hands of Reverso, with Enraged making a pretty solid play up there. Almost got that hook off as well. Good tanks from Andi to keep his teammate alive. Definitely would have been brutal if they were to lose Enraged there with the blue star. So they're just going to be kind of holding it down for the time being. Nez going for a gadget play. Not going to connect though, but he's just trying to hold this angle to keep on assisting his teammates with Rup's Tick in the middle right there. But Rup's going to be moving up here. They have to fall back a little bit. And we do see positioning on the side of Team Heretics, even though they're down 1.
A big gadget being popped by Lana. Tries to get Nez low, not able to do so. Nez does have a super, though. That's something to keep track of as a takehead gets dispatched by Enraged once more. And that Sugar Rush being missed. Big pull from Lana. Gets a kill onto Enraged and a lead for Team Heretics.
Probably not the greatest communication from Reverso there. Nez was launching it towards the right side, but there was 2 people in the middle and 1 on the left, so not going to be even come close to connecting anybody. His teammates got to give him better call-outs than that. But either way, we are going to see Heretics falling back now that they finally have a lead right here. Some good Mandy shots connecting, though. Andi has his shield ready, too. Probably going to wait for Enraged to get that teleport before he doles out that shield. But it's going to be tough for Enraged to move up onto this Tick lane, especially considering he's got Hypercharge online. Andi does land a couple of good shots. The pull connects, but the Tick head connects as well. So not really going to be a whole lot to speak of out there. And Rage still probably a shot or two away from his teleporter with 15 seconds left, Panda.
Indeed, Hypercharge being popped by Andy. He is going pretty aggressively. Finds it onto his teammate Andy. I mean, onto his teammate Rank there, and he gets taken out himself. It's the second left. It's over. Team Heretics are going to be able to take that dub and equalize the score at 1 apiece in this second set.
Yeah, Nez needed to connect that last Mandy super. He was close to hitting 2 people, but ended up hitting 0 people, and that's not really going to be enough to be able to take the lead. I think that holding that Mandy super towards the end is a gamble, and it's a gamble that didn't pay off for the side of Reversa. So Heretics gets their first win. We are at set point right here for our second set of the day, and it looks like we're going to see the same beef going down for that blue star that we've seen in both games so far. Great pull hit onto Linane, though. He might go down, but he's going to be able to escape for now. Nez not even aiming at Gene with that last shot, just trying to charge his super off of Rupp. So we see a 2-1 lead for the side of Heretics. They're going to be falling back a little bit. I believe Nez is only 1 shot away from his Mandy super, though.
Indeed, it is a slight lead, though, for the side of Team Heretics, as Roop has 3 stars and a blue star to his name here. A little bit of an aggression coming in from Enraged there. He's going to be taken out here. A little bit of a fumble there. There is another kill, though, onto Andy, and it's looking really bad for Reverso as Heretics are able to get a quick flurry of kills.
Yeah, I like the idea from Enraged. He had a really hard time getting his super last game. Didn't get it till the very end when it was kind of already out of the picture, but he did go a little bit too aggressive, tried to force it a bit too much, and it didn't end up working out. Either way, he's still going to be at that same task right now, but Rupp is doing such a good job of zoning him out. Enraged is just having an impossible time trying to charge his super in this game so far. We see Nez is going to rotate to the middle, but Andy's going to get pulled through the wall. That's going to be another easy kill. And now we have a 7-star, make it 9-star deficit, make it 11-star deficit. Team Heretics is absolutely cleaning up right now. This is looking like an insurmountable lead.
Indeed, it seems like Reverso are completely out of sorts against this Team Heretics side. So not the most flashy lead for Team Heretics, but they're doing a bang-up job here. I feel like it's been a lot of Enraged going in very aggressively and getting punished for it repeatedly, time and time again. With only 12 seconds on the map, they need all the kills. They need a team wipe here, honestly, to win. Nice pull coming in, and Raze goes down, and that is probably going to put the final nail in the coffin as Reverso take the L here in this set.
Yeah, that one looked pretty out of hand from the middle of the game right there. I feel like Enraged stats definitely not looking the best in that game 3 right there, but he definitely struggled quite a fair bit. Gray is such a great option, but it does kind of rely on getting that super, and we just saw Heretics playing their range, not feeding any Gray supers. That was definitely the key to victory right there. So well played to Team Heretics to bounce back after getting off to a shaky start, even in set number 2. But now we got a clean slate. It's 1-1. We're going to be going into Bell's Rock, I believe. So going to be seeing a little bit more of the same play style right here. And hopefully Heretics is able to make a little bit more of a stand right there. Reverso's got to keep their head up, though. They didn't play that bad. I think that the comp was a little bit outmanned right there. But I think this is still anybody's game.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Reverso had a pulse in the game and triple dribble, and in Shooting Star, they completely were left by the wayside. So maybe they have an idea of how to play this one in Bell's Rock. But considering the prowess of Team Heretics in the previous set and the fact that this map is played somewhat similarly, I would say I'm still very much on the side of Team Heretics for taking this dub. But, you know, honestly, I feel like the inconsistency of Team Heretics is something that we need to talk about, as Reverso Gaming are also equally inconsistent right now.
Yeah, I mean, Reversa has been consistently losing, if you want to call that consistent. But either way, Heretics has been up and down. They've been all over the place, but they need to make a stand here. This is a huge set number 3. The winner will have a massive advantage going into set number 4. But either way, I think that Bell's Rock does kind of pose the same issues that we saw with Shooting Star. It's going to be a mix of that aggression while not trying to get fully outranged and be made completely useless. Obviously, Gray's another brawler who's going to be good on this map as well. But like we saw, if you're not able to charge that super, you're going to struggle quite a fair amount. But we are into the draft right here. We've got the bans coming down. Reverso is going to get RT, Tick, and Kid out of the way. And then Heretics is going to ban Lumi and Angelo to add on to that RT. So lots of good snipers still on the board. Every thrower except for Tick still on the board. No aggro brawlers really except for Kit were banned out. So we see Gus with that first pick kind of hedging their bets a little bit. Want to be decent into any type of brawler. That Team Heretics might pull out here. I like the first pick. It feels safe. Got to see what Heretics counters with.
Yeah, Gus is such a good brawler right now, right? Like you have the hypercharge, which could be great for these last second plays, especially in like round 2 or 3 or something, which could give you the dub or keep you in it so that you can force a round number 3. So I think this is a great first pick here. Team Heretics going to go for the Gray
Ah.
along with the Hank, and we're gonna have our Hank stars once more. We saw how good Hank was in the previous fixture, but Gray is, I don't think you can ever go wrong with Gray. In most of the maps, he's just invaluably great for all the utility he can bring to the table.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the Gray Hank combination is once again one of my favorite combos to see. It's so broken. You can catch so many people off guard with that. Reverso is gonna have to definitely be quite cautious of this combination. I could definitely see it being pretty menacing, but either way, Reverso has more than enough time to take a tank counter right here. Chester is open. I could see that falling into play here. Maybe not the best knockout brawler in general, but he could be decent into the Hank specifically. I could see it. Besides that, though, I mean, the Hank does kind of counter out some of the more some of the weaker options like throwers and snipers. They aren't going to have the easiest time into the Hank, so I definitely think it is a good aggressive pick. It's going to make Reverso draft pretty defensively, but I like what Reverso is doing here. They're not going to let it get into their heads. They're going with the Ollie. They're going with the Gene. So they've got that pull potential to confirm a kill. They've got the Ollie hypnosis potential to confirm a kill. I think it's going to be a pretty aggressive set from both teams from what we're seeing so far.
Yeah, I mean, I like this the gene pulls that you have, the hypnosis as well from Reverse. So I think they have a well-rounded composition. Team Heretics going for the Rico. This is the second time I've seen Rico on this map specifically, which was, I guess, the last fixture between Humble and Inner Circle. So that's certainly interesting. I feel like Rico also doesn't have as many oppositions here, which could really throw him off balance. I feel like the tick that we saw earlier was a big reason as to why Rico wasn't as dominant as he could have been, even though he was really dominant. Right now, the Gene is the only real brawler, and I guess the jump from the Ollie is the only real situation where you need to be scared for the Rico. So I think that the Rico was a good pick, and Chaos Rico, let's be honest, I think one of the best Ricos in the world.
Yeah, I think it's more of an iChaos pick than a Rico pick. I definitely like it for him, though. We saw how much Boss cooked on this map with the Rico in the last game, so I definitely think that he could definitely make his presence known here. It's going to be a little bit tough into the Ollie and the Gene, both brawlers that are kind of able to pull him out of it and be able to secure a kill onto a Rico relatively easily, but hopefully his Hank and his Gray are able to clear enough space for him to kind of hang out in the middle there. I don't know though, man. This is going to be an electric game. I can already see some wild finishes with the Ollie, with the Hank, and then obviously with the Rico like we saw with Boss's Rico. I think that IKO should be pretty excited for this though. It's definitely going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's just going to be a lot of, let's see who's allowed to cook more on either side. So I'm looking forward to seeing how IKEOS plays Rico, though. I mean, I've always been a IKEOS fan, specifically as a Rico fan from way back in 2019. So wouldn't really, I think I'm biased here. We're going to go into game number 1 off this set here. And it's already looking like Team Heretics got the first round win.
Oh yeah, I guess so. We did have a Heretics win on the board already, and Nez is going to be getting so weak to Chaos too. Have a hard time imagining he survives the hypercharge. Indeed, he doesn't. And wow, that's more or less over before it started. It's just going to be enraged. Just Ollie in a 1v3 right here. He gets pulled by Rupp. The teleport should do it for him. The shield almost keeps him alive, but overall, very, very, very quick win to the side of Team Heretics. It was over before we even got to see what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, I blinked. I missed it. I missed it completely.
Yeah. That was crazy. I have to assume that it was like a Gray pull in combination with like a full Rico shot or a Hank bubble. The Gray pull into the Hank bubble can definitely be a pretty diabolical combo, but we're going into game number 2 right here. We definitely need to see something more from Reverso. Not their finest performance in game 1 right here, but Lenane's moving up, Rep's moving up, maybe going for a hook bubble combination. I think that's probably what they hit last game, but Enrage is trying to clear out some space in the middle. Chaos is trying to not let that happen. We see Rupp missing his first hook of the game. So we're going to see Heretics falling back a little bit for the time being.
Indeed. Right now, it's just about letting IKEOS cook and, I guess, hoping that Lena can find a few shots to get closer to the super, especially for those last second interactions. IKEOS already with his super here. He goes for it. Not able to connect all the projectiles as he wanted to, but now he's put away Enrage in an awkward position here. Enrage only has 1 or 2 ways forward, and IKEOS is going to be ensuring that those lanes are on lock here. And as going in, gets this super off on a ranked and is not able to get the kill here. He gets taken out. iChaos just capping it off with a kill onto Nez here to get the first round win for Team Heretics.
I don't really see how Nez or Andy are supposed to push into a Hank with a full bubble right there. I feel like Lenan has them pretty cooked in their spawn with these Hank bubbles right here. It's going to be really difficult for them to win this, but we see Chaos's hypercharge come down. Ooh. Andy is somehow surviving, but not for long. That's another super. And goodness gracious, is Chaos carrying this game, bro. Wow. That's ridiculous. 2 hypercharge Rico supers, and that's going to be all she wrote. Heretics with a 2-1 set lead now. God, do not let this man on the Rico. Do not let this man on the Rico.
We wanted the Rico. We wanted the iChaos Rico, and he did not disappoint at all. That was beautiful. That was poetry in motion. A masterclass on how to play Rico on any map, and specifically this map in particular. We're going to go into Dueling Beetles next, but I feel like Team Heretics are going to be happy with how this one is turning out. The first set was a loss, obviously. That would have probably put them at a pause, but now with these 2 set wins back to back, now and going into the 4th set here, they're in a good spot to possibly make it to all the way to the land. And I feel like, you know, I would take it if I was Team Heretics.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most dominant set that we've seen from any team today, I think. That was faster than any Brawl Ball set we've had. Like, they just made very, very quick work of them in that knockout set. So I feel like Heretics has got to be feeling on top of the world right now. The ball is back into their hands. They just need 1 set to cement themselves as the 4 seed throughout 6 days of league play. So it's in their hands. It's kind of up to them to see if they fumble or not. But going in to our freaking hot zone set right here, it's going to be pretty electric. I'm excited to see what type of aggro options we'll see. Maybe we get a little bit of Jae Young. Maybe we don't. But either way, it's going to be kind of a healing frenzy, a tank frenzy. I'm looking forward to see what happens here.
Indeed, it seems like Duncan, your roommate's trolling you a little bit from the doorway. Anyway, we're gonna go into our 4th set here, Dueling Beetles, and we're gonna have a lot of brawlers that we've seen coming back here. As once again, like one of the brawlers specifically is Great. I feel like Great is so great on a map like this. We saw how useful it was for Humble when they picked it up, and it's being banned out here. All the other bans are going to be Hank, Lumi, Kenji, Great, and Hank. So double Hank and double Kenji ban. It's going to open up 2 more brawlers here in the selection, and Team Heretics going for the Jae Young. I don't think you can go wrong with the Jae Young. You have the speed, you have the healing. I feel like it's one of the best supports in the game right now, so a really strong first pick from Team Heretics, but a safe one.
Yep, I'm not surprised to see Jae Young come into the play here. I think that as far as healing goes, he's one of the best. As far as speed goes, he's probably the best. So a lot of utility that you're able to give your teammate right there. I think that Jae Young should be a pretty solid option. And with the amount of bans that we see duplicated here, there's going to be more tanks falling into play here. Obviously, no Kenji, no Hank, but we could still see Ollie. We could still see Buster. We could still see Jackie or Frank. So a lot of good options on the board, maybe even a Draco. Reverso is going to have an answer for this. Maybe they go with a little bit of anti-heal options. Maybe they don't. I'm curious to see what happens here. They're going to be getting a B and a Chester. So it looks like they are fully preparing themselves for a tank assault from the side of Heretics. They got 2 very strong anti-tanks, 2 very strong hypercharges on those brawlers as well. So once you see those hypercharges start to come into the fold, Reverso could make a pretty nice comeback. But either way, I do still like what Heretics has here, especially if they're able to get a solid tank here.
Indeed, I like this draft coming in from Heretics here already. I feel like Reverso have I feel like it's good inish. Inish, what is it? Inish. I feel like this is good enough. I feel like, you know, the Chester can mark down something like a Frank or maybe some kind of tankier option. It's also really great for the range that you have in this map. It's not that long range, right? So I feel like the Chester is pretty dominating on the map like this, and once you break open the walls for the B, it just synergizes that much better for your entire team. So Team Heretics have the next 2 picks. They go for the Bull along with the Ollie. I like this. I like this from Team Heretics. I feel like this has a lot of sustain.
I agree with you on that. I think that the Bow is still kind of an underrated brawler. I mean, he hasn't been picked a whole lot today. And when we did see him picked, he was absolutely dominant in hot zone. So I guess they're trying to kind of rekindle that strategy right there. Ollie should be pretty decent as well, but doesn't have really a good matchup into the Chester or into the B. So he might have his work cut out for him. He's going to have to be very intentional about when he chooses to go in and when he chooses to stay back. But he'll have the help of the Jae Young, which should be helpful. Not surprised to see a thrower come in on the side of reverse. So I think that Barley does make the most sense. His super is able to flush out the entire zone. But I think that the story of this game is going to be kind of how quickly the Bow is able to set up shop here. If he's able to get 8 mines onto the zone, then we're going to see Reverso having a very difficult time getting back in. None of these brawlers are great for disarming the Bow mines. So I feel like they could run into a little bit of trouble with that. I think that Ollie's going to struggle quite a fair bit, but if he's able to get a couple of good picks onto the Barley or the B, then those should be in good shape here. I feel like this could be anyone's game, but I do like Heretic's comp a tiny bit better.
We're going to go game number 1 off the 4th set between Reverso and Heretics. Heretics took 2-1 here. Kill onto Lana has been confirmed. That is going to ensure it's a 3v2 favoring Reverso Gaming. It's a very close game, contentious at best here, as Lana gets back in the middle of things and gets a kill onto Enraged once more.
Yeah, it's going to be a great tap from Nez as well. Lanan is getting a little bit farmed throughout the beginning portion of this game. Andi's going to fall pretty weak, but should be able to survive this. Rupp has his first set of mines. He's going to be playing that directly onto the field. Should be quite easy to disarm, but that last bow mine is going to be quite annoying right there. We see Chaos doing all he can as far as healing goes. Lanan jumps in, but not much to speak of as far as that goes. He's probably dead again. Yes, he indeed is dead again. So we're going to see Reverso taking a solid lead right here. Andi barely juked out of that bow mine, but I mean, they are going to be up by about 30% when it's all said and done here.
Ooh, Hypercharge being popped by Nez. He's going to be able to get the kill onto Lana. Roop is very low, gets taken out as well, and it's going to be a huge lead for Reverso Gaming. Almost a 40% lead, and it climbing.
Yeah, they're climbing, I'll say. I mean, Lanan has just not been able to get any type of motion here. Every time he's gone in, he's gotten countered out by the B so well. He's choosing his target a little bit better this time and is able to take out Barley. They have 5 bow mines sitting in the middle too, so this is where Heretics has to make a stand right here, down by about 50%. They definitely need to hold it down here. That bow mine is barely not going to connect, but once again, Lanan is farming Andi right here. He does end up trading out. It's going to be impossible for Heretics or for Reverso to go through the mid right here. Nez is doing what he can to try and buy a little bit of time, but Heretics isn't getting a whole lot of zone time considering all the success they're having.
Indeed, there's a Hypercharge being popped by Andi, but he doesn't get all the values looking for a jump coming in from Lana. He should find the kill on Andi. He does. He gets a kill onto Enraged as well. Now Nez, the only one alive, gets taken out as well. And Heretics are able to come back here. They have a 20% deficit almost, but with all the control that they have, they are surely going to get the lead here soon enough.
Those are the Ollie plays we were looking for from Lanan, and he's going in again. He's going to be able to get Andi and Enraged stunned out here. Another double kill, and that is going to secure the game for Heretics when all hope looks lost. Who else to call except for Lanane right there, man. Absolute masterclass on the Ollie for the second half of that game. Fantastically well played into him, man.
Them, I gotta say, Lana is just a master at playing so many of these aggressive brawlers. It's not surprising to see them win that in that sort of manner, with Lana just piloting the Ollie. The fact that the man was able to get a double hypnosis and then get the double kill and also help his teammate find the third one as well. I just think that he's kind of crazy. I know I'm glazing him, but you know, I think he deserves the glaze.
I think it's justified glaze as well. I mean, especially considering how hard he was getting farmed at the beginning. He really stepped up his gameplay in the latter half, but he's going to go down once again. A similar start to the last game that we're seeing so far. iChaos on the Jae Young is going to struggle to get back into the middle here. Nez is just spamming out this lane, not giving Rupp an inch right now. But Lanan's going back on the aggressive right here. He's probably going to get killed again, but I mean, the heals from Chaos coming in clutch right there. Andi's doing what he can to keep his team juiced up. And Enraged is going to have the worst Chester super into the middle of the map. The jump is going to result in a trade out right here, but overall, it looks like it is a little bit of a better start compared to last game for Heretics, but Reverso's still on top percentage-wise.
Honestly, that trade which Lana had with the Barley, I think that's actually a trade which favors Team Heretics, because the amount of control that Barley offers on the field, once you remove him from the equation, it just makes it that much easier. So good job for Lana. He goes in once more, goes for Andi, but he gets taken out with the help of both Enraged and Andi.
Yeah, even with Lana dying, the Team Heretics is doing a much better job of kind of controlling the middle, but that's going to be a good hypercharge from Enraged, but Lana jumps over it, able to avoid a lot of that damage. Rupp is going to be trying to face check Nez. He is able to trade that out, but Lanon's going to be slowed right here, taking a lot of damage. Chaos coming in clutch with the heals. They're going to get out of that Barley hypercharge. We see the zone tick above 50% for Reverso. The 5 bow mines coming into the middle of the field, though, as Chaos gets a lot of damage. Lanon's going in for the jump. That should be a kill onto Nez as well, but somehow Enrage comes out on top of that. This is going to be quite an even game going into the last portion of this game.
Indeed. Now, Enrage's going to be pretty low on his left-hand side. He's going to be taken out by IKeos. Almost manages to kick out IKeos himself, but not going to be the case. A lot of control now from Team Heretics as they are all on the hot zone here and are going all the way there. Luna going in. He's able to get the Hypnosis, gets the kill onto Andy, gets taken out himself. Now, he has to contend with the Chester in the mid, who gets taken out. Nez, the lone man alive in the mid, but he's done a good enough job of ensuring that nobody from Team Heretics are able to capitalize on all of the kills that they made there.
Yeah, Nez is playing his range really well right now. They've got to regroup right here, though. Only a 5% lead. They got to get Linane out of here. Enrage dashes right over the bow mine. That's going to be huge right there. They've got 90%. They're able to kill Rupp's bow as well. And another Chester hypercharge should do it for game number 2 of Hot Zone. That's going to be tied up 1-1. Reverso is managing to live to see another day. Still match point for Team Heretics right here, but well played by Reverso to kind of lock back in after they kind of let Linane go a little bit wild on them in game number 1.
Yeah, I was a little afraid of that, but they were able to address him, and saw many moments where he was going in on the Barley, and they knew that, so they pulled the Barley away and allowed for the Chester to go in without getting hypnotized to get those kills. We're gonna go into game number 3, the last game of this 4th set here. Team Heretics are on match point here. It is now or never for them, and they have to lock in here as IKeos is gonna be pretty low. Gets a kill though onto Andy and keeps his teammate alive. Nez being alive, Luna being alive is huge for him, but that's not gonna be the case here as Roop also falls, and now IKeos is gonna be falling by the wayside. No, he gets the kill onto Ranked and still survives.
Enraged went a little bit crazy there, I'm not gonna lie, but overall we are gonna see a pretty similar start that we've seen in the past. Reverso with a solid 20% lead. Lanon starting to get his cycles going though. W combination there to be able to get that kill there. We see the first set of bow mines going down. It is going to destroy their walls, which makes it a little bit harder for the Barley, but it also isn't the greatest for Lanon. Going to be a bit harder to push as we see the B super come down. Barley is super online too. Likely going to flush out this zone here as the zone gets above 50% for the side of Reverso. It's kind of now or never for Team Heretics. We're going to see Lanon taking that into consideration, going to get a kill onto Andy. The Jae-Young support is coming in clutch right here, and we're going to be seeing Team Heretics get the zone to about 50%. We've got a very even match for the second half of this game.
Indeed, Lanag is going to go down, so does IKeos, and the last one to fall is Roop. This is huge for Reverso. I feel like this might just be a forced 5th set now, just because Team Heretics really need to get, I guess, team wipe after team wipe to really contend here. There's a kill on Andy, but Enraged is still alive. He goes for the hypercharge, finds it onto Roop, gets a kill as well for sure. No, Roop is still very much alive. IKeos finds a kill onto him instead. That's crazy.
I don't know how Rupp was able to survive that, but either way, it's going to be only 9% remaining for Reverso to be able to take this set and force a set 5. Rupp and Chaos are doing all they can to keep them off right now, but they've got only 30% left for their side. Lanon's going to have to make something happen here. The pull is live. It is going to hit right there, and they're going to be able to take out Nez on the B as well. Rupp's trying to find a way to milk a little bit more zone time, but somehow, some way, they are hanging on by a thread right here, and Rage is going to be trying to force his way into the zone. But Lanon is back. He's got super as well. They're trying to make one final push right here, but the bow mine comes in clutch. Is Nez going to be able to step onto the zone? He's not, and that's going to do it.
No
Heretics
way.
makes an insane stand, makes an insane comeback, and that's going to be a 3-1 victory for Team Heretics. I have no idea how they were able to hold off there.
That was crazy. IKeos, Lana, Roop, they were able to completely collapse on this Reverso Gaming side to get that dub there, so congratulations to them. And now they are knocking on Valencia's door. They might just be able to make it to land now just because of this win and all of the results that we've seen today. So congratulations to Team Heretics. I feel like Team Heretics fans are quite happy with the results. I mean, I would be if I was a Team Heretics fan.
Don't know how you couldn't be. That was insane. I thought that they were going to fumble and get us into a set 5, but somehow able to come back from like 40% down. Absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea how they were able to hold that off, but the bow mines came in clutch. Lanon's aggression came in clutch. Absolutely crazy work from them, and they are going to be our only team sitting at 3-3 through 6 days of play. All the other 2-3 teams lost, so they are going to be sitting in the 4 seed right now. Our top 4 seeds are going to be Humble, SK, Totem, and Heretics going into tomorrow, which is going to be our final day of league play. So we've got some great storylines ahead of us. Very excited to see who's going to be able to get their hands on that 4 seed, but Heretics in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I'm sure that Heretics are loving what's happening right now. We have Totem, we have SK, we have Humble, and now Team Heretics, who are going to be the top 4 teams, the teams to beat. I feel like we already know that Humble and Team Heretics have secured their spot. I feel like Reply Totem have also more or less secured their spot after what we've seen today. But let's see what happens on match day numero 7, because that's what it's going to be coming down to secure the last 2 spots in the Valencia playoffs that we are going to be having next month at the end of the month.
Yeah, it's going to be electric, man. I'm super looking forward to seeing how it goes. Game 7, or not game 7, day 7 of games should be pretty electric. I have no idea how we're going to be able to see who's going to grab this 4th and final spot, but let's see. Heretics does play Inner Circle tomorrow, so that's going to be definitely the game to watch right there. I feel like the winner of that could end up sliming that 4 seed. If Heretics win, obviously they have it in their hands. So they control their own destiny right now. They're going to have to make sure that they're locked in tomorrow, but got to be feeling good after holding off a hungry Team Reverso right there.
Oh, yeah, and for sure, Reply to them have made it. They've qualified. There is no way for any of the other teams to even get the 4th win here. So I don't think... Yeah, so Reply Totem have confirmed their spot at the Valencia land. So it right now it comes down to Team Heretics, Eclipse, our Inner Circle, and Ping Abusers. And Team Heretics have the advantage because they do have a win on the other teams, but it might come down to the win-loss against Team Heretics for the other 3 teams here.
Yeah, just looking forward at our matchups tomorrow. We are going to have Reverso versus SK, which won't have any playoff implications. It could have seeding implications if Humble are to drop a game, but that one's not going to matter too much. But we do have Ping Abusers versus Totem. Ping Abusers still in the tournament if they're able to beat Totem, so they've got to make sure they bring their A game. Heretics versus Inner Circle is probably going to be the match to watch. That's going to be a really big one if Heretics wins, they're in, so they've got to be going in pretty confident to tomorrow's games. And then our other game is going to be Eclipsar versus Humble. Once again, not too much for Humble to play for outside of seeding, but Eclipsar is still in this. They are definitely not out of the woods yet. If they're able to win, and then they're also going to be counting on Heretics to lose, but they could still slime into that 4 seed. So it's going to be a very, very scrappy performance. Got to see who's going to be able to get that 4 seed. Who wants it more? Who wants to go to Valencia? Cannot wait to find out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously we need to do that and we need to see all that. And for that, you have to come tomorrow. I believe tomorrow is going to be the last match day of the league phase. It's going to be match day number 7. Same place, same time. Me and Duncan are be covering this event for you for match day number 7. So make sure you come back tomorrow. We're going to have, like I said, Ping Abusers, Totem, Heretics, Inner Circle, Reverso, SK, Eclipsar, Humble, and yeah, that's what's on the agenda for the next match day. I hope you guys have enjoyed our presentation for today. Thank you to all the teams participating, to the sponsors, to the production team, and the team that works behind the scenes to make everything possible. Because you guys just see, Duncan's pretty face and my face, but all the work happens behind the scenes. So thank you to them for actually making all of this possible, and to Supercell for allowing us to put out such an event. So thank you to everybody who showed up today. I appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you subscribe to Duncan Brawl Stars. He has amazing content. He posts every single day. In fact, before we started our stream today, he was editing a video for today. So make sure you guys subscribe to Duncan Brawl Stars on YouTube and follow him for all of his shenanigans and whatnot.
I appreciate the shout out, Pan. Guys, make sure you're using code PAN in the shop as well. I can't let the shout out go unrequited right there, but thank you for having me, Pan. Shout out to all the players that played today. Thank you again to the production team, but another great day of games, guys. And the season is wrapping up, man. Only one more, so I'm expecting to see all of you guys here tomorrow for our final day of league play. And then, of course, we'll be having a great time once it gets into playoffs, guys. But thank you so much, Panda. Had a great time today, as always.
One more thing. Duncan and I are going to be casting another tournament, which is going to be in an hour and 50 minutes. So if you guys are looking forward to some NA shenanigans and NA chaos, make sure to tune in. Same channel, same place, same time, not same time, same channel, same place in an hour and 50 minutes for that. So hope you guys have enjoyed, but there is more to be had, and I'll see you hopefully in like in an hour and 50 minutes for some more exciting gameplay and esports action.